Hi. Whoa, hi, we're here.
Are we though? Are we here?
No!
I don't know.
Don't gaslight me, don't make me question existence. No!
I mean, considering the fact that we're going to be dealing with the paranormal and the anomalous, anything can happen here today.
Exactly, yeah.
How is everybody?
Yeah, how are you all? Well, how are you? How are you doing today? Oh god, we're already getting fart sound effects. Okay.
Oh no.
Starting off strong.
I mean, that's fair. You know what? The farts are a deterrent. They are. It's a safety mechanism. It's just for safety.
Scares off the weak.
Exactly. Exactly. The funny part is I can't hear anything because I have your stream muted, so I don't get the sound.
You'll probably hear me like jump scare occasionally from something or other.
Oh no!
I'll let you know.
For all the times of the audio stuff, this is the perfect one. Oh my goodness. But honey, how are you doing today, friend?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Today we're the waking up at 5 a.m. gang. That's what we are.
Oh, unfortunately. I mean, you buy the 2 kitties and me buy 8-legged things. 8-legged friends. 8-legged friends.
Little guys.
Little guy.
Little leggy boys.
Yeah, just a little bit. Honestly, this he wasn't a leggy boy. He was about the size of like like the silver dollar. You see the silver dollar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about as big as a silver dollar.
Oh!
He was a big one.
That's a big boy.
He was a big boy. Somebody had said that there is an angel-related SCP, and yes, there is a few of them.
Ayo.
Which
What?
I'm gonna slowly go and add really quick to the list because I totally didn't forget about them.
Oh my god, exciting. I'm scared, but excited.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm an SCP, I guess so.
I mean, technically speaking, considering all the VTubers that are out and about, wouldn't that mean that we are technically speaking all SCP?
Oh my god, I'm scared. What? Oh, we're surrounded by SCPs.
You know what? It's fine. So long as they don't try to capture us, we'll be okay.
VTuber containment. No.
Contain all the VTubers.
No, do not refrain.
Yes, please. We are fine. Also, we can't be contained. We cannot be contained. Nobody can stop us.
We're unstoppable.
Yeah. I mean, VTubers have kind of taken over the internet to a point, so I mean that is a thing.
Yeah, like quite seriously, yes. We are all powerful.
Yes, considering by how considering how often did not we see like VTuber stuff like on like the top of the most talked about topics on Twitter. So
There's always like VTubers trending every day.
That's the crazy part. I don't know if it's set by like how like what you personally look at or just in general, but yeah, like 9 times out of 10 is VTuber stuff.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But honey, and chat, are we ready to learn about the spooks?
I'm excited.
About the spooks?
Are you guys ready to learn? Or some of you probably know a lot about it, but this is my first time learning like anything besides a little bit of the first SCP Containment Breach game. I don't know anything.
Yes, so the dude is going in blind, which is both great, and I am so sorry for what you're going to learn about today.
I am scared.
But do you mind if I introduce myself? If that is okay.
Oh my god, I forgot. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I am Kian Dark. I am typically a Magister Knight from the land of Illumia. I am a VTuber, though I am currently on hiatus right now. But right now, today, you can call me Dr. Dark. I am a level 3 researcher at the SCP Foundation. What side am I at? that's redacted. We can't tell you about that. No, just don't do that. Oh, thank you for the shout. I appreciate it.
Yay!
But yes, so I will be teaching the honey all of the SCP related stuff. We have quite a number of videos to go through, one of which is a little bit of an introduction. And then from there, we have a couple of other just SCPs that you guys went ahead and gave us for honey to check out. Some of which I don't even know about, and I picked some of my favorites too. But this is all going to be kind of a interestingly fun experience for all of us. Just, I will say though that just as FYI, SCP stuff is very horror related. Not all of it, but there is a lot of horror. So this does get into a mix of darker topics as well. So if you might be sensitive about that type of thing, just be forewarned. We just wanted to let you know about that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, a lot of the ones that I picked should be relatively I mean, as tamed as SCPs can be. Let's be right here. But for those of you guys, just to kind of start out, for those of you who do not know what SCP is, SCP originally was actually started off with a story that was told on, I think it was on 4chan. About the first SCP that was ever created, which was SCP-173, which is known as the sculpture. It's literally just this random sculpture that somebody took a picture off of the internet of and made a spooky story about it. But that got really popular, and so from there, I think this was back in, I think it was 2007? No, 2008. And then later on, a whole website bloomed from that. And literally people started putting in entries and things about different topics in SCP. So to kind of explain, the SCP talks about the universe of SCP talks about the SCP Foundation, which is a secret organization that is worldwide, has their hands in everything, that both goes to secure, contain, and protect, hence the name, the weird, abnormal, and the big word here is anomalous. Anomalies are the key. Anything that is not normal to everyday life, that is anomalous. And the SCP Foundation want to find out about it and capture it so that it keeps the status quo of everyday human life. Because while some of them may not be dangerous, some of them may change how the way we see the world and can have some dire effects. Also, there are SCPs that, will end the world of the universe and things if they're not careful. So, yeah. The SCP, as well as far as the format is concerned, and do you mind if I post a link in your chat really quickly? Okay, so the main list for SCP stuff, and I'll post them both in your YouTube and this one here, if you guys want to check it out, of course. This is the site for all of the SCP related entries that have ever been created. This is a combination of file entries, stories, short stories, characters of interest, etc. It's all a huge old universe, and I think we're up to about maybe 8,000 plus entries since it was first created.
What?
So the way the format for these entries is basically you have the designation number, which is kind of the code like 173 or 016, all those types.
Yeah.
It has a object class, which is how easy it is to contain. There's different levels, which we'll learn about soon, and then just how they're contained, what it is, and what people do to actually stop this thing from getting out. Some of it's easier than others. Others are actually in the world today that we don't know about, but it's being kept under wraps. So SCP can be an object, a person, a phenomenon. It could be anything that you can think of. So it does kind of go into the realm of creepypasta related things as well too. So yeah, it is all spooky stuff. So I do have the playlist that I sent you. Do you want to share your screen as well, so that way I can hear and we can kind of talk as we go about doing things?
Yeah.
We're on the same page. Okay. Okay, okay. And then if you just want to go and, like, share your screen, if you wouldn't mind.
Let me see. Oh god, I haven't. How do I? Blah, 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 blah. Please, Discord, don't break. Ooh.
No, don't do it, please.
No. I might have to lower the resolution and the. Oh no, just the frame rate, maybe. Yeah, let me do that. There we go.
I love Great Armor's description. Yeah, SCPs can go from all to nope. And that is so true. They can be very innocent things. Even objects that would seem completely innocuous can end the world. And we will talk about some of those.
I am scared.
It is going to be great for everybody involved.
Hey, God, I got a heckin' construction truck outside of.
No! Wait, you know what? Hold on. That might be the foundation. We need to be careful.
They're already coming for us. No.
They know. We're talking about classified information. But now the video that we're going to be looking at here, we'll be talking in just a brief introduction of the SCP Foundation as a whole. It goes into a little bit more details about some of the stuff that I already talked about as well, but more in universe. The videos that we have have been from all over. I think I have some from SCP Explain, Dr. Bob, SCP Orientation. There's a couple of them from the Vulcan, which is a really good site. You know, they're all over the place. So a lot of variety here. I try to get. Yeah, it's gonna be good for everybody. My friend introduced me to SCP when there was less than 1,000. Oh no!
Whoa. The beginning.
Oh goodness! And then, what was I gonna say? There is a full-on, like, more in-depth video, which I would highly recommend if you want to learn more and go more deep into the topics. I didn't pick that one just because that one was a little bit too in-depth about things. But this one just kind of gives you like a quick crash course, gives you all the information right ahead, and then we can just kind of dive into everything else. So I think it's the Vulcan's a modern SCP introduction, if you want to look that up. For anybody to check out. Okay, well, if you are ready, honey, we can go ahead and start the video, and you can learn.
Yes. Okay. And let me know if screen share is hiccuping or anything, because Discord has been funky for me lately.
Sure. No worries.
All right. Shall begin.
Yeah.
In an undisclosed location, a woman is being tortured. The methods of her abuse are too horrific to be described, and her torturers are death row prison inmates, the absolute worst of the worst. This woman's torture is constant, and procedures are put into place to make sure she never becomes accustomed to the pain.
It's already starting off strong.
If ever her torturers express sympathy toward their victim, their superiors will have them removed and replaced. If they try to rescue her or put her out of her misery, they themselves will be shot without hesitation. The woman being tortured is known only as SCP-231-7, and worst of all, she's pregnant. The cause of her eternal torture? The SCP Foundation. And you'll be shocked to learn that when all is said and done, these are the good guys, because if they ever stop their brutal treatment of SCP-231-7, a treatment codenamed Procedure 110 Montauk, she'll give birth to a creature that will destroy the world as we know it. This is just one of the many examples of the objects and entities under the watchful eyes of the SCP Foundation, a mysterious group that strives to achieve greater good by any means necessary, and we do mean any. What you're about to hear is above classified, and be warned, what is heard can never be unheard, unless, of course, the Foundation gets its hands on you. So what is the SCP Foundation? In the most basic sense, the group's mission statement is right there in the SCP acronym. Secure, contain, protect. It's the task of the Foundation to, in their own words, contain anomalous objects, entities, and phenomena. Things that don't make sense, things that don't belong,
you're weird, you're
things
anomalous.
that simply don't fit in with our perception of reality, and some things that pose an existential threat to all human life. They refer to these contained anomalies as SCPs, each of which is accompanied by a number. This is a broad umbrella, as an SCP can range from benign or even actively helpful to downright apocalyptic if ever released. Much like the infamous Men in Black often reported by witnesses in connection with alien sightings, the Foundation works in secret to maintain a sense of normalcy at all costs, knowing the chaos it would cause if any of the anomalies they're harboring ever become public. Take, for example, SCP-500. To the untrained eye, the object is just an unassuming prescription pill bottle, the kind you'd see in medicine cabinets the world over. But the pills in this humble bottle are unlike any earthly medicine. They can cure quite literally anything, from cancer to a cold within 2 hours. But at the time of this writing, there are only 47 pills left. The power to cure all disease, a privilege denied to even the richest and most powerful in society. A veritable holy grail. Can you imagine the violence and horror that would break out in trying to obtain them if their existence ever became
Could
public?
you imagine the stuff on
SCP
Twitter?
Foundation works in secret because the collective mind of society just couldn't handle the knowledge of what they're dealing with. They work with the approval of all world governments, effectively placing them above international law. Essentially, there is no human authority above the Foundation, because without the Foundation's work, there would be no humans left to govern.
Good
To
or
understand
bad?
the basic operations of this above top-secret organization, we need to delve a little further into that secure, contain, protect slogan. Secure refers to the Foundation's practice of constant global surveillance and observation in order to detect and intercept anomalous
India,
activity
apparently?
before it can interact with
Observing.
civilians or rival groups. Contain involves preventing the effects or influence of the anomaly from spreading by either, in their own words, relocating, concealing, or dismantling such anomalies, or by suppressing or preventing public dissemination of knowledge thereof. The latter can involve practices such as using advanced chemical compounds or technologies to delete and then rewrite the memories of infected civilians, or even committing mass murder if necessary to cover their tracks. The SCP Foundation has in the past wiped out entire towns of innocent civilians to prevent dangerous information about the SCP spreading beyond
they
their
don't
control.
play
They can
around.
take lives at their own discretion and consider almost any crime to be permissible when the alternative is Armageddon. And finally, protect pertains to all operations meant to protect mankind from the SCPs, up to and including neutralizing and destroying them when possible.
Hi.
Some SCPs, such as the infamous SCP-682, a nigh-indestructible genocidal reptilian, have proved to be
the
almost
lizard.
impossible to destroy. Research is ongoing
The
in
hard
many
to destroy
cases as the
reptile.
Foundation explores any and all possible methods of reducing the threat of more dangerous SCPs. In order to help them categorize the thousands of strange and horrifying anomalies under their watch, the Foundation has created a system that organizes the SCPs based on the difficulty of containing them. The first of the primary object classes is Safe, pertaining to SCPs that require little, if any, resources to safely and
They're
properly
not safe.
contain. Examples include the previously mentioned SCP-500 pill
Oh,
bomb
yeah.
and SCP-999,
Oh.
a benevolent blob of gelatinous orange matter.
Okay.
SCP-999 has a playful, almost dog-like personality and causes feelings of happiness and euphoria in whoever or whatever it touches. It's even been used by the Foundation as a pacification tool to reduce aggression in other SCPs. The second primary object class is Euclid, which refers to any anomaly that requires more resources to contain completely or where containment isn't always reliable. This is the broadest SCP class, and the majority of sentient, sapient, or autonomous anomalies fall into this category. A Euclid SCP might be something as huge, sprawling, and bizarre as SCP-3008. This SCP appears to be a kind of anomalous pocket dimension hidden inside an Ikea superstore, which is not only significantly larger on the inside by approximately 10 kilometers, but also contains bizarre,
The
faceless
infinite
entities
Ikea.
which can become hostile under the right conditions. A Euclid SCP can also be something as seemingly innocuous as SCP-294, which appears to the untrained eye to be a standard coffee vending machine. However, unlike any other coffee machine, the input system on SCP-294 is a QWERTY keyboard. This SCP can manifest any liquid typed in on the keyboard, from standard drinks like coffee and beer to more esoteric compounds like sulfuric acid and disease-infected human blood.
That's
During
dangerous.
extensive tests,
Yeah.
one subject requested the perfect drink and was given an odorless lavender-colored liquid. After consuming the liquid, the subject went into a state of euphoric shock. The subject later committed suicide, leaving a note which read, "I'm sorry, but at this point everything's just one big letdown." Sadly, subjects dying during tests is not uncommon. The SCP Foundation essentially has
That's
limitless
normal.
resources, including
Normal,
access to
yeah.
countless disposable workers and test subjects. The most common of these are so-called D-class personnel, which are death row inmates conscripted for the purposes of often lethal SCP experimentation
Oh,
or
no.
containment.
No.
The next primary object class is Keter, described by the Foundation as anomalies that are exceedingly difficult to contain consistently or reliably, with containment procedures often being extensive and complex. This can either be due to being an extremely volatile and dangerous
Ooh.
anomaly, or
It's a
just one
black
that seems
hole.
to defy known laws of physics or reality, and is thus extremely difficult to understand understand or contain. The SCP Foundation has a vast number of secret facilities across the globe, and while the Keter-class SCPs are not nearly as common as the Euclid class, they consume a great deal more resources to safely
They're my
contain.
favorite types.
One particularly terrifying Keter-class SCP is SCP-354, colloquially known by the Foundation employees as the Blood Pond. This SCP is a large pool of non-biological red liquid discovered in North Canada that appears to be a kind of interdimensional primordial soup. What makes this SCP particularly hard to contain as well as extremely frightening is the fact that hostile entities periodically emerge from the pond and must be neutralized before they can escape the containment area. These entities have included a floating black sphere that can fire concentrated beams of deadly radiation, a 15-foot-tall reptilian humanoid that seemed immune to gunfire, and a homicidal metallic humanoid nicknamed the Terminator by Foundation personnel. The most highly classified primary object class of all is Thalmia, which consists of SCPs used to contain other SCPs. This can range from SCP-7000-J, a book of Latin incantations bound in dinosaur skin that can summon various other entities, all the way to SCP-4006, which is the entire state of Massachusetts. Thalmia-class SCPs are the most bizarre and esoteric of the anomalies dealt with by the Foundation, but thankfully, they often pose less of an active threat than many of the Euclid or Keter-class SCPs. Finally, as mentioned earlier, sometimes the SCP Foundation deems an anomaly too dangerous to contain and just needs to destroy it entirely. A terrifying example of a neutralized SCP and a perfect illustration for just how strange and abstract the anomalies dealt with by the Foundation can be is SCP-4991. This SCP manifested as a series of bizarre posts across a number of websites about an apocalyptic event that seemed to be occurring on a different layer of reality, and seemed to indicate that a kind of deadly parasitic and carnivorous insect was spreading like wildfire across the globe, causing death and destruction in their wake. The SCP Foundation neutralized SCP-4991 by tracking down, containing, and erasing all infected posts across the internet before it could spread too far. Who knows what would have happened if the Foundation hadn't intervened? As is often the case with SCPs, it's probably best just not to think about it. The actual structure of the SCP Foundation is surprisingly transparent, with personnel classification levels ranging from Class A to Class E. Class A personnel are considered vital to the strategic operations of the Foundation, and therefore are not allowed to be in contact in any way with any of the SCPs due to potential risks. Class B personnel are vital to local Foundation operations on SCP test sites, and are only permitted to be in contact with SCPs deemed to be relatively safe. Class C personnel are field agents that have far more direct contact with the SCPs and often put themselves at great risk in doing so. Class D personnel, as previously mentioned,
That's actually a scary
cannon
SCP.
fodder thrown into the jaws of death to discover more about the more dangerous anomalies on the SCP roster. And finally, Class E personnel are personnel that have been already exposed to the potentially dangerous effects of an unknown anomaly. Class E personnel are placed into quarantine until they're deemed fit to return to work or terminated, depending on the results of their observations. In terms of actual roles in the SCP Foundation, the top of the pyramid are the O5 Council members, Class A personnel who have total clearance and oversee all Foundation operations. Below them are Site Directors, who manage the various physical Foundation facilities across the globe and report back to the O5 Council. On site, researchers and containment specialists work together to better understand and combat the anomalies being housed at their particular facility. They're kept safe by the hard work of veteran security and tactical response officers ready to lay down their lives to prevent more dangerous SCPs from ever escaping and reaching developed areas. In the event that an SCP does breach containment and escape, or a new one is discovered, field operatives are dispatched by the Foundation to get the situation under control. These will consist of field agents who already operate across the globe and specialized mobile task force operatives. The SCP Foundation has eyes and ears everywhere. Their organization is influential and is embedded in every facet of society, ready to strike and suppress an emerging anomaly before any ripples of its existence can reach the wider world. Even here, we've only really scratched the surface of the SCP Foundation's extensive and frankly mind-boggling global and historical operations. There's plenty of information about the Foundation online, many of which people assume is pure fiction, but wouldn't that be the perfect cover for a real secret organization wanting to cover its tracks? As the quote says, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he doesn't exist. Ultimately, the SCP Foundation is on the side of mankind, but that doesn't mean it'll always act in our best interests. After all, if it means preserving the peace, and getting another anomaly under wraps, the Foundation won't hesitate to terminate you and everyone without a second thought. Whether you'd want to face off against the Foundation itself or one of the anomalies they wish to contain is ultimately up to you, but trust us, neither would end well for you. Oh, speaking of which, there's another SCP we forgot to mention that's quite literally unspeakable. SCP-2521 is a creature that's made entirely of strange black tendrils that envelop and smother the creature's prey. No written records of the creature exist outside of pictograms because it immediately attacks and consumes any information produced about it. This includes speech, as the creature will appear and consume anyone who— oh god, oh no, it's here, help me! Hey, no mind what you just witnessed. I, the infographic show narrator, am perfectly fine. We now recommend you watch Russian Sleep Experiment Explained and How Me and Slender Man Became Real. Pay no more thought to what you just seen or heard. Thank you.
I'm scared.
It isn't easy to work for the SCP.
Quick pause. And that is a good introduction to the Foundation.
Oh my god, I didn't realize like how detailed it was. Oh my gosh.
It goes hard on every, and even like little aspects like, you know, the researchers themselves, they're like famous ones that are well known. The O5 Council is a whole other matter. I remember somebody had talked about it. There's the mobile task force that deal with either specific type of anomalies, like was it the mole rats that deal with anything underground, or Pony Express that deals with any like postal or like mail oriented SCP. There's SCPs for everything. Yeah. As Greta said here, it's very detailed. They go hard. But yes, so there is SCPs for literally any kind of concept, as you see here, be it monsters or things that just randomly happen and such. But as you saw, some are good, like the slime, which we'll be talking about the good boy soon. And then the red pool, which I think I have the red pool here as a SCP. I might. If not, we can always look at it if we have time. But I highly recommend for anybody, even after the stream, if you are interested, check out the videos either on YouTube or if you like reading, check the case files for all the SCP numbers there as well, because there's so many. There's so many of them.
Many.
Yes.
Wow.
But now we are going to start talking about the SCPs. But the important one is we got to talk about the first, SCP-001.
Oh!
The question is though, which one? Because there's more than one.
What? No.
There's more than one SCP-001. It's not the first one that's ever created as far as the actual, IRL lore of the whole SCP concept.
Yeah.
That's the statue, which we'll be talking about after SCP-001.
Yeah.
But the Village Idiots, yes! The Village Idiots. I think the Village Idiots deal with anything like Metropolis, like any city-based SCPs or anything like that. My personal favorite is Nine-Tailed Fox, because foxes. They basically they're more internal, and it's like if anything goes down at a SCP site and they can't handle it on their own, they send the Nine-Tailed Fox to fix it.
No.
So,
Okay. Cool.
It gets really crazy. But yes, so the next video is going to be talking about SCP-001, or a lot of them. So
the whole one gang.
Yes, the whole one. I love that. It's the one gang. I love this. But yes, please, if you would like to go ahead and start the video for this one next.
Not only is the job dangerous, you could be eaten
Who's that
by
guy
a giant
again?
immortal lizard or turned into organic furniture inside the world's scariest living room,
No.
but it's also insanely complicated. How do you make sense of the nonsensical? What's the definition of strange when your career is securing, containing, and protecting anomalous objects and entities? Rather than a single object, location, or being, SCP-001 is a cluster of over 30 different proposals for potential candidates for the prestigious 001 spot. Some believe there's a true 001 hidden in this group, and the rest are decoys. Others think that these are all just SCPs cataloged prior to the introduction of the current classification system. Some even think that all of the proposals have a valid claim to the SCP-001 throne. we're not here to make a final judgment. Instead, we're going to take you on a lightning round crash course through 31 of the SCP-001 proposals. If you'd like a more in-depth take on any of these SCPs, let us know in the comments. But for now, there's no more time to waste. After all, we got a lot to cover. Let's go. Number 31. The Sheaf of Papers. This seemingly innocent stack of paper is actually one of the most mysterious and feared items under the Foundation's lock. While it appears to be a simple, confidential report, every time the papers are read, it details the appearance of a new SCP that will inevitably be discovered soon after. The question is whether the Sheaf of Papers is warning us about these entities or creating them itself. Number 30. The Prototype. This account details the capture of an incredibly strange cycloptic creature that emits massive amounts of radiation and can create micro-singularities. The writing of this creature's file is so basic, unformatted, and unredacted that it's clear that the being was one of our earlier creatures secured by the organization. Interestingly, it was during the capture of this creature that Dr. Keter was killed, inspiring the creation of the infamous Keter class in his honor. Number 29. The Gate Guardian. This huge, multi-winged, sword-wielding, biblical energy being may have been the impetus for the founding of the SCP Foundation. This being remains largely static, guarding the intersection of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Its flaming sword, which is believed to be as hot as the sun, can cleave any aggressor out of existence at the atomic level. When the founder of the SCP Foundation first encountered the Gate Guardian, they heard one word echoing through their mind: prepare. And the rest is history. Number 28. The Lock. This onyx gemstone and the incredibly complex lock attached to it are still a mystery. To this day, all attempts to open it have failed. Personally, we think that's probably for the best. Number 27. The Factory. As the name suggests, this SCP is literally a factory founded by a pagan and a devil worshipper. While it's believed that the factory could create just about anything, its specialty was creating a number of SCPs we know and fear today. Pre-Foundation forces were able to disable the factory, but not without sustaining their own heavy losses. Number 26. The Spiral Path. This is a normal travel pathway that, when traveled clockwise, appears completely normal. However, when traveled counterclockwise, the path goes uphill forever, in defiance of all laws in physics. This simple anomaly opened a Pandora's box of rampant anomaly creation, leading to a number of the deadly SCPs we know today. Number 25. The Legacy. This SCP is a collection of seemingly random objects, including a diary from a person claiming to be from another reality, attempting to halt a trans-dimensional corruption that they themselves created. The diary claims to have a solution to this corruption, but the solution has not yet been found. Number 24. The Database. In one of the strangest twists on the format, this SCP is actually the various authors of the SCP Wiki who are somehow leaking information to the public. Number 23. Foundation. This SCP, first discovered by the FBI, is an anomalous high school building that experiences shifting internal geometry and sometimes manifests hostile humanoids within. Number 22. 36. One of the rare benevolent SCPs, the 36 are human with a truly remarkable ability. They can dampen or even neutralize any SCP they come into contact with. Though it's implied that the 36 may have the power to save the world, every time one of them dies, a supernatural calamity occurs, often leaving hundreds of innocents dead. Number 24,
scary.
Keter Duty. This refers to a containment facility largely filled with Keter-class SCPs, whose presence around each other creates a kind of mutually assured cancellation. If one of these SCPs breaches containment, that's bad news. But if all of them do, it'll produce a bubble of reality distortion that will fundamentally alter reality as we know it. For all we know, it may have even happened already. Number 20, Ouroboros.
I don't want to think about that.
This is a proposal that's formed of 4 sub-proposals. Remember what we said about complicated? These sub-proposals include the Children, 9 anomalous kids who emit radiation and have destructive potential when together, the Broken God, aka Mechane, the God of Metal, Intelligence, and Machines, Atonement, a researcher turned into a humanoid singularity with the power to destroy whole realities, and The Way It Ends, which isn't technically an SCP, but the tale of the Chaos Insurgency's quest to eliminate all the members of the Foundation's O5 Council. Number 19, a record. This is an SCP file slot that is itself an SCP. Whatever is written into this slot becomes true, and one ambitious researcher attempted to use this power to make herself into a kind of all-powerful god. Number 18.
She
past
did.
and future.
She did.
These SCPs are a collection of powerful entities that despise humanity and are apparently the source of all anomalous phenomena, even making already dangerous SCPs deadlier than before.
No.
Much like the database, those pesky SCP wiki writers might have something to do with this. Number 17.
Stop it,
The
writers.
consensus.
Stop
This SCP refers to a reality restructuring event caused by an occult war in a previous reality. That's right, this SCP already won, and we're living in its new reality.
Okay.
The only people who remember the world as it once
Couple of
was
them
are
like that.
13 people who now form the O5 Council.
Oh my
and
God.
not all of them are telling the truth about what they know. Number 16. When Day Breaks. This proposal details a potentially world-ending SCP phenomenon wherein the sun becomes hostile and begins to melt all living beings into a living wax-like substance. Number 15.
Too hot.
God's Blind Spot. This is an anomalous area referred to as Facility T, in which nobody can die. This anomaly dates back to the biblical ages of Moses and is believed to have originated from the literal blessing of the Abrahamic God. It's through a covenant with this god that the Foundation is able to make limited use of this death-free area. Number 14. Normalcy.
Normalcy.
Ever wonder what the Foundation's definition of anomalous is? Exactly.
H-Man's
It all
right,
comes
Dave
from
Briggs
this
is
proposal,
horrifying.
which is a document shared among the O5 Council that gives solid definitions to the fundamental laws of reality. If something breaks these laws, that's an anomaly, and then it becomes the Foundation's
But he's
business.
just a little guy.
Number 13.
He's a little
The world
guy.
at large. As the title suggests, this SCP is our home planet Earth and its ability to support life. It's believed that these qualities were planted on Earth in our reality by another dimension's SCP Foundation, hoping to continue human life after some terrible calamity in its own dimension. Number 12.
Oh my God.
This SCP was an 84-year-old man whose body, when damaged and mutilated, can affect the very processes of human death at large.
Zombie.
For his own death, he was
Zombie.
used as a dangerous pawn in a civil war between O5 Command and the SCP Foundation Ethics Committee. Yeah, we were surprised to hear they had an ethics committee too. Number 11. The World's Gone Beautiful. This SCP describes an anomalous event that will take place just before the apocalypse, in which flowers will grow all over the world and everyone will be briefly at peace before their destruction 24 hours later.
Okay.
Number 10. The Scarlet King. This is an
Whoa.
extremely powerful, extremely malevolent, extremely extra-dimensional being. Its
Extra?
worshippers attempted to summon him in the ritual that created SCP-231, and it's believed that he will finally enter our reality after the death of SCP-231-7. You better hope you're
That was the
already
lady from the
dead
first
by
for the
then.
first video.
Number 9.
Oh,
the
that one.
That's
Symbiote
why.
Walker, aka
Wow.
Dr. Wondertainment. This is a
Dr.
reality
Wondertainment.
vendor who appears to be a normal human male, but has the ability to create other anomalous objects,
Oh.
a number of which are now cataloged SCPs. Number 8. Story
Yeah.
of Your Life.
Boys.
This is another anomalous document that has the
Story.
ability to warp reality, but only when the writing contained within conforms to a narrative structure. Number 7.
Oh.
A Good Boy.
A good
This
boy.
is another anomalous entity created accidentally by the Foundation itself. A neural network was fed information on other anomalous entities in order to help the Foundation come up with better containment and neutralization procedures. Problem was, the computer got way too eager with the neutralization part. Number 6. Project Palisade. This is another anomaly
became a
created by the
puppy.
Foundation.
Oh my
This
God.
time to
Very
combat a
aggressive
potentially
puppy.
reality-destroying entity known as the Worm. The Foundation created a number of alternate realities as shields, but it's possible that this just made the Worm stronger.
Worm.
Number 5.
Well.
O5-13. The final member of the O5 Council, who ironically may not even be anomalous. However, seeing as all the other members of the O5 Council are anomalous, O5-13's lack of anomalous properties is therefore anomalous. Like we told you earlier, it's complicated.
The fact that you're normal is anomalous.
Less an actual SCP and more about the difficult process of ascertaining the true 001, if such a thing is possible. The very concept of SCP-001 is to some degree an anomalous idea. Number 3. The Sky Above the Port. Another particularly bizarre SCP regarding the permanent threat of a ZK-class reality failure. How is such a calamitous event prevented? By keeping a strange entity in a cave eternally entertained. The current proposed solution is keeping the entity entertained by allowing it to read its own eternally recursive Foundation file entry. Number 2. the solution.
Entertainment.
Another one of the most
it's a
powerful
TV.
anomalous items in the Foundation's control. The solution is a machine designed with the capability of fully collapsing reality into an event of end-of-world SCP containment breach. and then finally rebuilding reality to suit a given narrative. However, things took a cosmically dangerous turn when the machine began to act on its own. When the Foundation tried to reboot the machine, it broke and recreated reality with incomplete data. This is the world we exist in now, with no knowledge of what came before, and how it differed from the world we experience today. Finally, number 1, the Tendelos Trinity. Put very simply, the Tendelos Trinity represents 3 timelines that converge and feed back in on themselves. Even trying to summarize this one is near impossible, as its strangeness and complexity resists all reduction. You can hunt down the Tendelos Trinity yourself and hope to unpack its secrets, but don't say we didn't warn you. So that's SCP-001. Is it one of them, all of them, or even none of them?
Yes.
Perhaps that's a question best left up to the Foundation, or maybe the simple answer is that you're just not meant to know. We're talking about information so privileged here that it's protected by a mimetic kill agent that'll quite literally make you drop dead if you view the files without proper authorization.
No!
You do have proper authorization, right?
Dead.
Quick, click on one of these other videos instead before you're detected.
The answer is yes. Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true. Yes, the answer is absolutely yes.
Yeah.
But that is SCP-001, or all 31 of them.
I am questioning reality so hard right now.
As somebody did know, apparently the factory was actually the first 001 that was ever written about. So yeah, that one, I highly recommend looking into that one for yourself, because that one is a tale. Preferably the one from the SCP Explained. They actually tell as a narrative, which is really cool, and it gets dark. It gets really dark.
Ooh, spoopy. So spoopy.
Yes, but hopefully everybody is having a good time so far, I think. And I did see a couple of people that I recognize. So hi, hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, good peoples. Hopefully you guys are enjoying yourself or asking questions. Congratulations, you're a D-class person now, meaning you're expendable.
Oh, hydrate, thank you. I shall.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to do the same.
Yes, oiter.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so yes, but that is the main concept of the very first SCP that was ever created, technically. But we'll be getting into that next time. This one is actually going to be shorter, but the reason why it's pretty short is that there's really not much information on it. But I think because of just keep it for prosperity, they decided not to add any more to it. So it is the sculpture, if you would like to go ahead and click on that one. AKA the peanut. Yes, it is a peanut.
Okay, I was wondering in chat, I kept saying peanut.
Yeah, it looks like a peanut. You will see. Not.
Item number SCP-173. Object class Euclid.
Peanut.
Special containment procedures. Item SCP-173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times. When personnel must enter SCP-173's container, no fewer than 3 may enter at any time, and the doors to be relocked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must maintain direct eye contact with SCP-173 until all personnel have vacated
I've seen
and
that
relocked
one.
the container. Description. Moved to Site 19 in 1993. Origin is as of yet unknown. It is constructed from concrete and rebar.
I didn't know
traces
that.
of Krylon brand spray paint.
What the heck?
SCP-173 is animate and extremely hostile. The object cannot move while within a direct line of sight.
The blinky guy.
Line of sight must not be broken at any time with SCP-173. Personnel assigned to enter container are instructed to alert one another before blinking. Object is reported to attack by snapping the neck at the base of the skull, or by strangulation. In the event of an attack, personnel are to observe Class 4 hazardous object containment procedures. Personnel report sounds of scraping stone originating from within the container when no one is present inside. This is considered normal, and any change in this behavior should be reported to the acting HMCL supervisor on duty. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. Origin of these materials is unknown. The enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis.
Ew.
Lesson complete. If you missed the previous orientation, go watch SCP-172, The Gear Man, right now.
That's the little guy.
Or for the complete course,
Peanut.
watch this playlist.
Oh god, there's a whole 99 videos in
It's
that.
3
Oh my
a.m. and the facility
I said
is
pause.
quiet. Office workers and administrators roam the halls. Security
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. What do you think of the peanut?
I remember in the first SCP game, I didn't know that's what it was. I didn't know it was like a sculpture and called the
Yep.
peanut. I just remember like blinky guy. Scary.
Yep. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think from SCP Containment Breach, it's the one that kind of starts everything off.
Yeah.
Like you literally see him and then the door goes down, the power goes out, and like it kills everybody around you but
Yeah.
you. And then it's like then you just nope out of there.
Bye.
Yeah.
He's a baddie. Yeah.
Yes, apparently. So there is a bit of a story with this one. So
Ooh.
the picture for the peanut was taken just randomly offline from a Japanese sculpturist that
Oh.
somebody did like back way back when.
Yeah.
I think it was in the past 5 years. The artist actually put a copyright claim on that.
Oh.
So the picture for the photo for him has actually been changed.
Okay. Yeah, that's
So
fair.
he looks more another like a statue and things.
Yeah.
So, and then you hear the greatest announcement: Nine-tailed fox has entered the facility. Yeah.
That's not bad, right?
Oh no! That's one of the mobile task force. So they're the one I told you about that. When all shit goes down in a facility and they
Yeah.
can't handle it, they come in and try to fix everything.
Try.
Well, apparently so it sounds like the story changed as well. So
Oh.
yeah, that I didn't know. So yeah,
Huh.
that's the main. So, but that's kind of the main containment for the that original SCP. I think, from my understanding, they never originally didn't do any changes to it because they wanted to keep the first SCP ever created, by itself
Yeah.
and not touch. But I can't say the same for all the other ones. But which gets into, but that was a Euclid SCP, so relatively easy to contain, not too much trouble. All you have to do is just look at them. You can't blink,
Yeah.
and then you're fine.
Easy.
The next one, however,
Oh.
we got to talk about either Uncle Larry, also known as Uncle Larry, aka Grandpa.
Grandpa.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. If you would like to continue the video. So yeah, the next 4 videos are going to be the most well-known SCP. So the first one is going to be 106, the Old Man.
Oh, Grandpa.
He's grandpa. He's not a nice grandpa.
Evil Grandpa. Let us.
He is a very evil grandpa.
He's cranky.
He is very cranky. Cranky is not the word I would use, honey, but okay.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
It's 3 a.m.
There we
and the
go.
facility is quiet. Office workers and administrators roam the halls. Security officers stand at their posts, clad in advanced tactical armor and carrying standard-issue M4 carbines.
Whoa.
3 Foundation employees sit at flickering monitors
Whoa.
watching a live feed
There
of
he
footage
is.
from the containment cell of the infamous SCP-106, or as it's referred to by all staff, the Old Man.
Grandpa.
No Foundation personnel are permitted to travel within 60 feet of the cell for security reasons.
Oh.
And nobody is permitted to physically interact with the anomaly without the approval of 2/3 of O5 Command. The observer's eyes itch and sting from hours of unending blue light exposure, but they can't look away. The Old Man is crafty. He might have the insatiable bloodlust of a hungry great white shark, but he's not mindless. He's a calculating predator, more sadistic than the worst human serial killer. And he's always searching for the next opportunity. According to the Foundation records, he's been active since at least World War II, and it's estimated that he has hundreds if not thousands of victims to his name, and many of those made simple but extremely foolish mistakes of underestimating him. After all, it only takes a few seconds of inattentiveness and the briefest moment of distraction to give him the window he needs. To do what, you ask? Oh, don't worry. You'll find out, just like they did. The Old Man has his nickname for a reason. Most of the time, he really does look exactly like that. an old man, or more specifically an old man's decaying corpse, his body covered in rotten, dark, grayish-black flesh that looks like putrid meat. Though the creature has been observed being able to change shape, the rot seems to run too deep for the old man to ever hide it. Foundation employees that have observed SCP-106 for extended periods of time have reported seeing it assume the form of grinning, decayed children and women whose rotted flesh barely hangs on their creaking bones. Just seeing the images through a video feed is enough to cause a lifetime of insomnia and other sleeping issues. Still, they have a job to do, and the cameras remain fixed on the old man. He's been completely motionless for 3 months, just sitting there like a Buddhist monk in deep meditation. A novice might see this period of inactivity as a cause for celebration, but those with experience know that this is merely the calm before the storm. SCP-106 can remain in a dormant state for months at a time. Described by the Foundation scientists as a lulling state, it's believed that the old man is simply waiting for its captors to get soft, make a mistake, or simply have a momentary lapse in concentration, which is all it needs to make its move. It had happened so many times before, and it was about to happen again. One of the observers must have felt an overwhelming wave of anxiety as he saw the creature ever so slightly twitch. Just a tiny quiver in the shoulder muscles, but that was enough to tell the observer that their day had just taken a terrifying turn. He grabbed the emergency phone fixed to his desk and practically screamed into the receiver that 106 is moving, that they need a tactical team stat, but it was already too late. He and the other 2 observers stared into the monitors with their mouths agape as a gooey, rust-like substance began to pool around the creature on the floor of its cell. Slowly, the creature craned its withered neck around. Its face was fixed into a broad, yellow-toothed, lipless grin. Its eyes had the kind of dull, flat malice of an underwater predator. It looked directly into the camera, directly at them, and smiled. The observers knew this was bad. Really, really bad. With what they could have sworn was a little nod, the old man began sinking into the rusty puddle it made on the ground beneath it, until it had disappeared entirely. SCP-106 is capable of phasing through any solid surface with ease, making it one of the hardest entities to reliably contain, and earning it a spot on the dreaded Keter class, reserved for the anomalies that are complete nightmares to keep locked up. Through the years of costly research and deadly trial and error, the Foundation would later devise ways of at least slowing the creature down. It's shown to have an aversion to lead, highly complex or random physical structures, and intense bright light. None of these cause harm to the creature, as far as we know, literally nothing.
He lives in the basement.
But they'll at least buy you some precious extra seconds with which to at least try and escape. Seconds the 3 observers didn't have. One of them grabbed an emergency line again and barked into it that they had lost visual on the anomaly. Just then, the observers heard a faint crackling sound behind them and the hissing of a chemical burn. They turned in horror to see a huge rusty burn mark expanding across the wall, right next to the door, which was their only escape route. They backed as far away from the door as they could as a rotten hand began reaching out of the mass of corrosive black sludge, followed by the grinning face of SCP-106, ready to have some fun. Meanwhile, 2 heavily armed security officers, Agents Goodwin and Resnick, came charging down the corridor toward the observation rooms. It became a bleak slogan during SCP-106 escape attempts that all you need to do is follow the screams. And that motto was proven true that night, because awful things were happening to the observation personnel. They were certainly screaming about it. Of course, even with the top-of-the-line firearms, there was little they could do to harm the rampaging old man. He seemed immune to all forms of physical damage. All they could hope to do was keep the thing distracted until the scientists and containment specialists finished the preparations to lure him back into his containment cell. Goodwin surged forward while Resnick covered his 6. Vigilance was key, as unlike a standard human combatant, SCP-106 could attack from literally any angle, including above or below. Physical obstacles were irrelevant to him, and no cover was safe. The hardened security officers could see the burn mark on the wall of the observation room as they approached. SCP-106 was perpetually coated in a thick black mucus with powerful corrosive properties that left any surfaces it touched permanently marred. Foundation scientists speculated that this mucus served as a kind of pre-digestive substance that tenderizes meat and bone alike. But to what purpose this serves is a mystery, as the old man has never been observed eating. It's postulated that the only purpose is causing additional pain. Goodwin and Resnick knew to treat this hissing sludge as a potential threat, as the corrosive properties would remain active for as much as 6 hours before finally fizzling out. The two officers shared a quiet nod before Goodwin breached the observation room door with a hard kick. The two of them surged inside,
go the
guns at the
opposite
ready.
direction.
In their time working at the Foundation, they'd
Run!
seen some truly horrific sights. From the mutilation of D-class personnel, typically death row prison inmates brought in for use as SCP guinea pigs, to the violence and mayhem of a containment breach. But there was nothing in their past that would ever make the horrifying sight they saw in the observation room that night feel normal. All three observers were dead. Almost nothing remained of two of them, and the third,
Ripperoni.
while still intact, no longer looked human. He looked like he'd somehow been dead 100 years in the brief period that the old man had been free. His skin
Old.
was gray and completely
Very
dried
old.
out. And his
Old.
mouth was locked into a
He's
perpetual
jealous. He's
square.
jealous of the
It was a
youth.
massacre, but there was no
Youth
sign of the old
stealer.
man. Goodwin grabbed his radio and whispered, "This is Goodwin in Observation Room 6, requesting immediate backup. We have no idea where this thing," but his sentence was cut off by a sudden scream from Agent Resnick. SCP Foundation security officers are as tough as nails, the best of the best, you might say, recruited from the top military organizations in the world. So hearing one of them scream in fright is a rare, if not impossible, occurrence. But
Too
even they were
spooky.
forced to yell out in fear
Too
when they
spooky
looked
for
up to see
everyone.
the old man standing on the ceiling, grinning down at them. Resnick raised his M4 and shot a 3-round burst at center mass. SCP-106 didn't care. Even under sustained gunfire from the two security officers, it
doesn't
didn't
care.
flinch. The old man simply reached down and snatched Agent Resnick from the ground like he was picking an apple from a tree. The old man held Resnick in one hand and pounded its other rotten fist into the agent's body, breaking all of his bones. Resnick screamed for his partner to help him, but there was
He's
no time.
tenderizing.
Before Goodwin could do anything, SCP-106
that.
began receding back into another
tenderizing him.
slimy burn mark on the wall. Only this time
Bye.
he was taking his screaming victim with
Taking
him.
him home.
Agent Resnick gave one more horrified scream before he was pulled
Take
backward
out.
into the inky darkness, leaving the room silent except for the
Take out.
burning hiss of the corrosive goo left behind. You might think this would be the end of it, but no. For poor Agent Resnick, the worst was yet to come. He was being dragged into what the SCP Foundation
Tender.
scientists refer to as
Very
the old
tender.
man's pocket dimension.
Yeah.
A miniature layer of reality within our own where the malicious SCP is essentially a cruel, all-powerful god.
Yeah.
According to witness reports extracted from victims who were taken to this little nightmare realm, the dimension resembles a series of twisting, endless corridors where the old man stalks and tortures his captured victims to the breaking point, manipulating space and time to his own sadistic ends. On rare occasions, the SCP will even release its victims just for the joy of hunting, capturing, and torturing them all over again.
Grandpa,
While Agent
no!
Resnick was learning the
Why
true
is
meaning
Grandpa
of terror,
throwing stuff
containment specialists were mobilizing in its cell, preparing the one known tried and true method of luring the old man back, tempting it with the prospect of causing even more suffering. In order to do this,
Oh.
Foundation personnel take one of the aforementioned Class D personnel and begin inducing extreme pain by breaking a major bone or slicing a tendon every 20 minutes. The victim's agonizing screams are then played over the facility's intercom, acting as bait for the pain-loving old man. The screams echo through the facility's otherwise silent halls as the mutilated corpse of Agent Resnick falls from a new scorch mark on the ceiling. The old man can hear the sounds of suffering ringing out through the air around him, and he can barely contain his excitement over the prospect of a new plaything. The set
Goodbye.
femurs, the torn
Goodbye.
tendons, it was all too good to miss.
Bye.
Having had its twisted fun with the security officers and observers, SCP-106 wandered back to its containment cell, where a new screaming victim awaited. The other security officers, containment specialists, and scientists evacuated the area, leaving the old man alone with his prey. While the unfortunate Class D was left to his fate, the rest of the staff commenced cleanup procedures, which mainly involve wiping the brown and black mucus from the walls. It would probably be at least another month before anything like this happened again, and new personnel would be transferred over to the facility to replace the fallen. All in all, just another night at the SCP Foundation.
You know, just the usual.
Yep,
Just
just,
the
you know,
usual.
old man coming to go and rip your heart out and break all your bones and digest you and all that fun stuff.
He's hungry. He's a little hungry.
Just a tad bit. Okay,
When
and
an
that was
anomaly
the
is
old
first
man.
detected by an SCP
Ow!
Foundation field agent, it's
I
up
heard
to the
that.
Foundation's mobile task forces
I
Hey,
heard
there-
that from you. Oh my goodness.
Got pummeled, no!
Grandpa. But yes, oh, there's an ad break starting. Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
we-
actually have to use a little VTuber's room.
Okay, we take a quick break.
Yes, I shall take a quick break. I'll be right back. Everyone
Okay.
get some drink and stuff and stretch.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah,
Sounds like
Oh, hi.
Ah,
Wow, hi.
we have returned. And now for another SCP. Hopefully everybody got water and things.
Yeah.
And did the stretchies. Honey, I have a question for you. Do you feel as though that you're a very shy person? Would you
Yes.
consider yourself as a shy person?
Absolutely.
Yes. I very much like to say the same thing about myself, but I think we're about to meet someone that might be a little bit shyer, and the shyness is might be a little bit murderous.
What?
just a bit murderous.
I'm scared. What?
just a tad.
I'm scared.
But this is another infamous one from the old man in the statue, the shy guy, or as H-Man says, the sprinter.
Oh my god.
For reasons you will soon understand.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm gonna hate this.
It's gonna be great. But how's everybody enjoying the video so far? Are you learning?
Yeah, are you learning?
a lot?
I'm heckin' learning a lot.
Yes. He's just a shy little guy.
Let me make myself a little smaller.
He is definitely shy. Oh, tiny dude.
Here we go. I don't want to be a heckin' giant.
Giant dude. Oh no! Chad, she's an anomaly. We have to.
Kaiju do.
Kaiju do.
Oh, he's tall.
Whenever you are ready, honey, this is gonna be This is a fun one.
Let us begin.
When an anomaly is first detected by an SCP Foundation field agent, it's up to the Foundation's mobile task forces to tag and bag the impossible entities before they can do any more harm. Sometimes these retrievals are uneventful, other times not so much. Especially when they're dealing with brutal forces of nature like SCP-096. Also known as the Shy Guy, a creature that, from the very first interaction with the Foundation, had a reputation for being dangerous and needed to be feared. A series of vague sightings and mysterious disappearances up in the frosty mountains of the Yukon first sparked the Foundation's interest. When they were certain that they had an anomaly on their hands, 2 retrieval teams, Zulu 9A and Zulu 9B, were dispatched to secure and contain the entity. Zulu 9A took the lead in a heavy-duty chopper, equipped with 50 caliber GAU-19 heavy machine guns, and carrying an AT-4 anti-tank launcher. And they were prepared for anything.
I'm sure they
so they thought.
I don't think they
Established
need
a
it.
visual on SCP-096, 2 clicks away from the target. They couldn't get a clear line of sight on the creature, but it appeared to be stationary,
just a shy little guy.
docile, was making no attempt to flee. Piece of cake, right? Little did they know that SCP-096 was just looking away from them. If it was facing towards them, it'd be a whole different horror story, as Zulu 9A were about to find out. The team landed their helicopter next to the creature and were shocked to see that it was completely naked, in spite of the sub-zero temperatures all around them. The creature was unnaturally thin, as though it had been starved for weeks, with bone-white skin and unnaturally long limbs. The team guessed that the creature's arms must have been at least 1.5 meters long, but its docile nature and insubstantial body mass gave the impression that it wouldn't prove too difficult to contain. That is,
easy peasy.
Until they saw its face.
Okay.
Zulu 9A's captain was the lone survivor of the incident, as he was lucky enough to be looking away when the creature turned towards his team. The rest of the squad ended up staring eye to eye with SCP-096, and from that moment on, wasn't docile anymore. The creature began to whimper, and cry, then sob uncontrollably in a way that sounded eerily human. This sudden change in temperament startled the rest of Zulu 9A, and they opened fire on the creature. Under the hail of gunfire, SCP-096 entered a murderous frenzy and began tearing into the hapless squad of soldiers.
Oh my
While its flesh and
god!
organs did seem to take damage as a result of the barrage of 50 caliber rounds from the helicopter-mounted machine guns, its skeletal structure remained intact, and it continued its onslaught, tearing the team limb from limb, even after they'd blown practically all the flesh from the creature. The AT-4 anti-tank launcher proved equally ineffective at stopping SCP-096 while it was in attack mode. And it was only after slaughtering the entire team that it returned to its docile state. Nobody knows exactly what the creature did to Zulu 9A after the gunfire started, but no trace of the team was left behind. Zulu 9B touched down soon after.
Oh my god.
With a grave warning from the captain not to look at the creature's face, they were finally able to subdue it.
Do
a
not
bag was placed
perceive.
over SCP
Yes, literally,
096's
do not
face,
perceive.
which seemed to soothe it enough to move it to a nearby
Perceive
foundation
face.
facility. Little did they know, they just obtained one of the deadliest SCPs of all time.
Oh my
While it may
god.
have been under lock and key for now, it seemed inevitable that it would get out and cause more violence and chaos. Research and containment procedures for the SCP-096 were put under the command of Dr. Dan, a senior researcher at the site. It was his job to find out exactly what this being was capable of. And the more he tested, the more he realized that they were dealing with something truly
Rip!
Disposable D-class personnel were used to figure out exactly what it was that caused the creature to enter its attack mode.
Oh.
Just as it had during the initial retrieval mission, SCP-096 went berserk when any of the attending personnel saw its face. In this stage, it would enter a period of considerable and unstoppable distress for 1 to 2 minutes, covering its face and wailing loudly. When the period of distress ended, the creature would mercilessly slaughter every D-class that had seen its face, and just like with Zulu 9A, no trace of their bodies would be left behind.
What is it doing to
Dr.
them?
Dan was horrified
We don't
and
know.
intrigued by this phenomenon. The creature killed anyone that saw its face directly, but could the same be said for indirect depictions of the creature's face,
Oh.
such as images and videos?
Uh-oh.
Dr. Dan was desperate to find out.
No,
More
no thank
D-class
you.
personnel were brought in to test this,
I don't
to
want
frightening
this.
results. Dr. Dan found that the creature did indeed still enter attack mode when people saw pictures and videos of SCP-096's face.
No!
The creature seemed to have an innate sense of when people were viewing these representations, even when it should have had no conceivable way of knowing. It didn't matter how far away or how many barriers were in place between the viewer and the creature, the attack mode would still activate. And once it did, it seemed as though nothing could stop the creature from hunting down the one who
Keep
saw
going,
its
keep
face.
going.
With all of this new
Keep
data,
moving.
special containment procedures were devised to keep the creature safely under lock and key. Its cell was a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter airtight steel cube,
Cool.
fitted with advanced pressure sensors and laser detectors to
Very
ensure
true,
that
Rosa, very true.
SCP-096 remained in its cell without risking anyone having visual contact with the creature's face. All cameras and video equipment were strictly forbidden, and weekly checks for any cracks or holes in the containment cell were mandatory. Of course, none of this would stop the creature if anyone somehow saw its face. In order to solve that little problem, Dr. Dan would need to continue his research. To find a method of subverting the creature's deadly glance, they needed to know exactly what they were dealing with. But how could they, when even a glance at a photo or video of the being meant certain death? A potential solution was proposed, creating an artistic representation of the creature's face, something that hadn't yet been attempted. But how would they achieve such a feat? Simple. They'd procure a D-class prisoner with some artistic talent, and they found one who had been a tattoo artist before becoming a Foundation guinea pig.
Whoa.
Dr. Dan formulated
I
an
feel bad for
ingenious
this
plan for
dude.
keeping this D-class alive for long
really
enough to
bad for him.
accurately draw an image of SCP-096's face. He would be placed in a bathysphere diving bell several kilometers underwater and tens of kilometers away from the containment cell where the SCP was being held. The D-class was made to look at a photograph of the creature's face and then replicate that image in a pencil sketch. Dr. Dan first confirmed that the creature's attack mode is only activated by the creature's face, by having the D-class look at a series of photos of the SCP's body parts, one by one, finally finishing with its face. The D-class began drawing and even remarked on how creepy the SCP's facial features were, despite not knowing the deadly context. Meanwhile, back in its containment cell, SCP-096 sensed someone viewing its face and entered its inconsolable crime state, followed by its attack mode. It broke out of containment easily and began making a beeline for the D-class, traversing miles between it and its prey. The D-class didn't know it, as he locked the finished drawing into a separate, autonomous submersible, but he was already dead. As the drawing made its way up to a researcher on the surface, SCP-096 dived into
he's
the water
done for.
and started
I'm
swimming
very
down
scared.
towards the artist.
Dead. Oh my
Minutes later,
god!
the atmosphere was breached,
He's
and the
gone!
D-class was torn to shreds.
Rip.
SCP-096 was recaptured without issue by Surface Recovery Team
Could you
Foxtrot
imagine?
303A.
Oh,
Further
that
testing of the
sucks.
drawing showed that artistic
Down the road,
representations
you
of
just hear this thing
SCP-096's
yelling.
face were in fact harmless. From this experience, we now know that the creature has a gaunt face with totally white eyes, possibly indicating blindness and a grossly extended jaw. Nevertheless, Dr. Dan was adamant that SCP-096 was too dangerous to be left alive, and requested permission from the upper echelons of the Foundation to terminate the creature by any means necessary. However, the Doctor's request would fall on deaf ears, until it all started with a seemingly innocent image. While it's now been redacted for your safety, the black speck inside the yellow circle was once a minuscule image of SCP-096, taken unknowingly in the 1990s by a semi-professional mountaineer. One day they were looking at old photographs when his eyes passed over the tiny speck without even noticing that he had seen anything. But SCP-096 noticed, and began entering its
Just a speck.
It tore through its steel containment unit like tissue, causing the release of a nerve agent that killed a number of attending Foundation staff. The monster then fled the base and began pursuing its prey, with Mobile Task Force Tau-1 in hot pursuit.
Pixel Man.
Dr. Alexei, who was helping to manage the site where the SCP was contained, was in dismay over the situation. Dr. Dan was out of the country at the time, trying to discover more about the creature's origins. However, he did leave the Mobile Task Force with a new secret weapon against the rampaging Shy Guy. Project Scramble. Scramble were state-of-the-art goggles featuring a new technology created by Dr. Dan, which, using artistic renditions of 096's facial features, could detect and scramble the features of SCP-096 into an unrecognizable form, preventing the normally deadly effect of gazing upon its face. In theory, this would allow MTF Tau-1 to engage safely with 096 once its prey had been eliminated and bring it back into containment. But disaster struck on two fronts. First, the prey in question was located in a population center, creating the potential for a huge loss of life. And the second bigger problem was that the scramble technology didn't work, as stray pixels of the creature's face would reach the eyes of the task force before the internal microprocessor had time to scramble them. The mission turned into a death sentence, as SCP-096 slaughtered
a millisecond of seeing it,
as well as a number of civilians in town.
That's crazy.
Including an infant and its entire family. It was a monumental disaster, made even worse by a final revelation. Dr. Dan and Dr. Alexei had themselves facilitated the entire containment breach and allowed the resulting massacre to happen. Dr. Dan hoping it would be enough motivation for Foundation Command to greenlight his research into destroying the creature. Anything that would give him the opportunity to kill this thing would be worth the bloodshed. His plan worked, and the SCP Foundation saw it his way, approving his request to neutralize SCP-096. However, success comes at a cost for Dr. Dan. Once he figures out a way to finally kill the creature, though done in his line of duty, he himself will be terminated by the Foundation for his crimes against humanity. But considering how much damage SCP-096 is capable of causing if it ever got to a major population center, or even worse, was ever caught on camera and broadcast to the Doctor himself would likely deem his own death a justifiable cost. To this day, the Foundation is researching ways to kill the creature, and they're still looking for their silver bullet. And the pressure is on. They hadn't known about the seemingly innocent picture that sparked the last containment breach, the one taken decades ago, in which the Shy Guy had only occupied 4 tiny pixels. 4 tiny pixels that resulted in multiple innocent lives lost. So be careful where you look, because who knows how many other photos of the creature are lurking out there. Photos with an innocent dot in the background. Your eyes glance over it, not even noticing the little blip, until you hear a distant wailing that seems to be getting closer and closer and closer. And then, it's already too late.
No! I will never look at a photo again.
Photo, TV, anything, just anything, he just appeared.
Oh, that's so terrifying.
Bad. Yep, that is the Shy Guy. Yeah, as Grey Armor said, Foundation personnel who causes the death of other Foundation members through neglect or is intentional become D-class.
They become
expendable.
Oh my god. That's quite the demotion.
Yeah. It has happened many a times, unfortunately.
Oh my god.
Yes. But that is the I think the Shy Guy was like one of the first SCPs that I found out about. I was like, okay, I hate everything now.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever look at a picture ever again.
I know. I'm like, no, thank you.
Just drop it around. But yes, so I love the fact that Stream Elements said, "I'm watching you." No, we don't want to watch it. We don't want to watch it.
Stream Elements will perceive the shy guy. Stream Elements will save us.
How does that work?
It's not real.
How does that work? That's a dilemma. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
So, the next one of the most popular, I think this is the second to last, but this one's a bit of a long one.
Ooh.
This is the Plague Doctor. Also, just as an FYI, all the SCPs that we're seeing as far as the most popular ones, except for the next one, which is the Infinite Ikea, they're all in Containment Breach. So
These are no.
They're all in Containment Breach, so you have to
I
deal
hate
with them
that.
all.
No.
You have to deal with them all. It's so good. Stream Elements is a computer. It won't die. That's true.
Yeah, I'm like, they should try that.
Yeah, use a computer, and then it's never going to IKEA ever again.
I've never been to an IKEA, please.
I've been when I was very, very small. It is very much like a maze. It is very much like a maze. Oh my goodness. But the next one, so the next one's a little different. This one is the Plague Doctor. This one is actually from SCP Orientation. I originally had put the one from Explain, which was a little shorter. This one had, I see a suggestion.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. 4415. I'm gonna look at this one really quick.
Yeah.
Look at this one. 4415. I have never seen this one before.
Oh
no. Apparently the Foundation made this SCP. I'm kind of curious in this one, but so after this particular one, would you, and maybe after the IKEA one, maybe we can go into some of the requests and maybe like pick one that random that seemed good rather than going in order?
That sounds great.
How does that sound? Okay. Yeah, we could go into some fun ones. So we'll keep this one on the back burner, but this one actually looks really cool.
I'm scared.
Yes, this one is probably one of my favorite videos. It's so well done and things because they actually have interviews with the SCP. We get to hear it talk.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So without further ado, we're in for a long one, everybody.
Let's go.
The Plague Doctor.
Whoa.
You have been warned. I love that.
Item number SCP-049. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures.
Little guy.
SCP-049 is contained within a standard secure humanoid containment cell in Research Sector 02 at Site 19. SCP-049 must be sedated before any attempts to transport it. During transport, SCP-049 must be secured within a Class 3 humanoid restriction harness, including a locking collar and extension restraints, and monitored by no fewer than 2 armed guards. While SCP-049 is generally cooperative with most Foundation personnel, outbursts or sudden changes in behavior are to be met with elevated force. Under no circumstances should any personnel come into direct contact with SCP-049 during these outbursts. In the event SCP-049 becomes aggressive, the application of lavender has been shown to produce a calming effect on the entity.
Flower.
Once calmed,
Just throw
SCP-049
Just
generally
throw
becomes
lavender at
compliant
it.
and will return to containment with little resistance. In order to facilitate the ongoing containment of SCP-049, the entity is to be provided with the corpse of a recently deceased animal, typically a bovine or other large mammal, once every 2 weeks for study. Corpses that become instances of SCP-049-2 are to be removed from SCP-049's containment cell and incinerated. SCP-049 is no longer permitted to interact with human subjects, and requests for human subjects are to be denied.
He's
Temporary
experimenting.
containment procedure update.
No!
Per Containment Committee Order 049.S19.17.1, SCP-049 is no longer permitted to interact directly with any members of Foundation staff, nor is it to be provided with any additional corpses to be used in its surgeries.
No talking.
This order shall persist indefinitely, until such time a
Drowning
consensus regarding the
softener.
ongoing containment of SCP-049 can be reached. Description: SCP-049 is a humanoid entity, roughly 1.9 meters in height, which bears the appearance of a medieval plague doctor.
Whoa.
While SCP-049 appears to be wearing the thick robes and the ceramic mask indicative of that profession, the garments instead seem to have grown out of SCP-049's body over time.
Yeah.
The robes and gloves are identical to a thick hide, built up on the skin, while the mask is composed of a kind of chitin growing out of the bones of the face, and are now nearly indistinguishable from whatever form is beneath them.
Oh.
X-rays indicate that despite this,
actual body.
SCP-049 does have a humanoid skeletal structure beneath its outer layer. SCP-049 is capable of speech in a variety of languages, though tends to prefer English or medieval French.
Medieval French?
The entity claims to have originated in 15th century France, though admits that it is particularly well-traveled. While SCP-049 is generally cordial and cooperative with Foundation staff, it can become especially irritated, or at times, outright aggressive, if it feels that it is in the presence of what it calls the pestilence. Although the exact nature of this pestilence is currently unknown to Foundation researchers, it does seem to be an issue of immense concern to SCP-049. SCP-049 will become hostile with individuals it sees as being affected by the pestilence, often having to be restrained should it encounter such. If left unchecked, SCP-049 will generally attempt to kill any such individual. SCP-049 is capable of causing all biological functions of an organism to cease through direct skin contact. How this occurs is currently unknown, and autopsies of SCP-049's victims have invariably been inconclusive. SCP-049 has expressed frustration or remorse after these killings, indicating that they have done little to kill the pestilence, though will usually seek to then perform a crude surgery on the corpse using the implements contained within a black doctor's bag it carries on its person at all times. The space within this bag is seemingly anomalously large, as SCP-049 has been observed pulling objects larger than the bag itself from within it in order to operate on deceased subjects. While these surgeries are not always successful, they often result in the creation of instances of SCP-049-2. SCP-049-2 instances are reanimated corpses that have been operated on by SCP-049. These instances do not seem to retain any of their prior memories or mental functions, having only basic motor skills and response mechanisms. While these instances are generally inactive, moving very little and in a generally ambulatory fashion, they can become extremely aggressive if provoked, or if directed to by SCP-049. SCP-049-2 instances express active biological functions, though these are vastly different from currently understood human physiology. Despite these alterations, SCP-049 often remarks that these subjects have been cured. Addendum 049.
Apparently zombieism is the cure, everybody.
Discovery. SCP-049 was discovered during the investigation of a series of unknown disappearances in the town of Montauban in southern France. During a raid on a local home, investigators found several instances of SCP-049-2, as well as SCP-049. While law enforcement personnel engaged the hostile 049-2 instances, SCP-049 was noted as watching the engagement and taking notes in its journal. After all of the 049-2 instances were dispatched, SCP-049 willingly entered Foundation custody. SCP-049 upon discovery.
Over and over again.
The following interview was conducted by Dr. Raymond Ham during the initial investigation.
Just a little plague.
Interviewer, Dr. Raymond Ham, Site 85. Interviewee, SCP-049. Begin log.
Oh, this is it.
Alors, comment devrions-nous commencer une introduction?
Is that French? Can we get a translator?
The King's English. No need for translation, sir. I can speak it well enough.
Good. My name is Dr. Raymond Ham, and
a doctor. A like-minded individual, no doubt. Wherein is your speciality, sir?
Cryptobiology.
Why? A medical man such as myself. Wonders abound. And here, I worried I had been abducted by common street thugs. This place,
Hi.
this is your laboratory.
It's a nice
I
one.
wanted as clean as it is,
About the
and with
pestilence
such little
curing.
trace of pestilence in it.
Pestilence. What do you mean?
A
The
pestilence.
scourge, the great dying. Come now, you know what is it they call it? No matter. The pestilence.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need to know.
Tell
It
us!
abounds outside
Tell us
these
the
walls, you know.
pestilence.
What is it?
So many have succumbed, and many more will continue to, until such time as a perfect cure can be developed. Fortunately, I am very close. It is my duty in life to rid the world of it, you see.
Uh-huh.
The cure to end all cures.
Uh-huh.
When you say the great
Zombies.
dying, are you talking
Zombies.
about the bubonic plague?
I don't know what that is.
What is that?
Right, well, the entities our agents encountered at the house, they were dead when you encountered them, yes? You reanimated them.
In a manner of speaking, you see things too simply, Doctor. Expand your horizons. Life and death. Sickness and health. These are amateur terms for amateur physicians.
Whoa!
There is only
We
one
are.
that exists in
Rude!
the world of men, and that is the pestilence, and nothing else.
Nothing
Make no
though.
mistake,
Oh my god.
they were very ill. All of them.
They were so sick.
You think you cured those people?
Indeed. My cure is most effective.
But the things we recovered were not human.
Yes, well, it is not a perfect cure, but that will come with time and further experimentation. I have spent a lifetime developing my methods, Dr. Ham, and will spend a lifetime more if necessary. Now, we have wasted too much time. There is work to do. I will require a laboratory of my own, one where I can continue my research unimpeded. And assistance, of course, though I can provide those
no.
on my own
No.
in
No.
time.
No.
Oh,
You're not
I don't
allowed.
think our organization would be willing to.
Nonsense. We are all men of science. Fetch your coat and show me to my quarters, Doctor. Our
Science.
work begins now.
Oh my god.
End log.
Right?
Interviewer's note. While SCP-049 is capable of communicating in a very human way, there is a strange sense of unease that one experiences when in its presence. Make no mistake, there is something very uncanny about this entity indeed. Additionally,
A little
we've
uncanny.
confiscated that pointed stick that SCP-049 keeps waving around. Part of this was due to standard confiscation protocols for the possessions of anomalies, and part because 049 really is a menace swinging it around like he does. The entity was
Menace.
displeased at
Baseball
first,
bat.
but after
Oh
we
my
made some
God.
concessions in providing it with test subjects,
Ah!
which are admittedly more for the benefit of our own research, it warmed up to the idea.
Well,
Addendum 049.2 Observation Log. While in containment at Site 19, SCP-049 has spent a considerable amount of time studying and performing surgery on the various mammalian corpses it has been provided. SCP-049 will routinely spend several days performing surgery, and then, regardless of whether or not the corpse becomes an
Wow.
instance of SCP-049-2, spending several more days documenting its findings in a thick leather journal
Wow.
stored within its doctor's bag.
so thorough.
SCP-049 will often seek to share its findings with members of Foundation staff.
Wow.
Notably, SCP-049's journals are not written in any known language, and attempts by linguists and codebreakers to decipher them have been unsuccessful. The following is a log
It's
of
an
several
eldritch.
occasions during which
Yeah.
SCP-049 was
Oh
observed
my
operating
God.
on a mammalian corpse. Observational log 049.OL.1.
He's a friend
Summary.
now.
Subject: SCP-049. Preface: a test subject. D85123. was introduced into SCP-049's containment cell. The entity expressed sincere gratitude towards all members of the containment and research staff. Observation notes. SCP-049 began by asking D85123 several standard medical questions as it began removing tools from its bag. Shortly after finishing its preparations, SCP-049 quickly closed the distance between the two, killing the subject with a touch to its throat. Afterwards, SCP-049 made a number of considerable alterations to the basic structure of the subject's corpse, often introducing fluids from within its bag into the subject by way of a hand-powered pump and copper tubing. The resulting 049-2 instance became animated, flailing and grasping at the walls of the chamber with a number of manufactured limbs, while moaning out of an oblong orifice now present in its sternum. During this time, SCP-049 was observed taking notes of the instance in its journal, and remarking to the watching research staff about the efficacy of its cure. Security personnel entered the chamber to move SCP-049 back to containment, and were attacked by the instance. The security team dispatched the 049-2 instance, and SCP-049 returned to containment with no resistance, stating that it was pleased with the results.
What if he had a gun?
Observational log 049.OL.2.
Wait, why?
Summary. Subject: SCP-049. Preface: SCP-049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased goat. SCP-049 expressed gratitude at the provision. Observation notes. SCP-049 operated on the goat corpse for several days, eventually resulting in an instance of SCP-049-2. SCP-049 expressed pleasure in this outcome, though admitted the disease was still in its nascent stage. My veterinarian practice is rudimentary, but the patient responded well to the procedure. Observational log 049.OL.3. Summary. Subject: SCP-049. Preface: SCP-049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased orangutan. SCP-049 expressed noted gratitude at the provision due to the similarities between the orangutan and common human physiology. Observation notes. SCP-049 spent several days operating on the orangutan, reanimating it several times. However, SCP-049 appeared to be discontent with the results it experienced, returning to the creature 3 times after its initial reanimation for additional work. After it was unable to reanimate the corpse a 5th time, SCP-049 turned the corpse over to Foundation staff for incineration, stating, "I've learned so much from this, though I fear my early optimism was misplaced. I hadn't yet come across such a stumbling block on my road to the cure. More subjects like this would do a great deal in advancing my research."
But we don't know
Observational log
what's
049.OL.7.
Why?
Subject: SCP-049. Preface: SCP-049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased bovine. SCP-049 expressed mild annoyance at the provision, though accepted it nonetheless. SCP-049 had stated its desire to work on human subjects several times between this occasion and the earlier provision of an orangutan, noting its discontentedness when they would not be provided. Observation notes. SCP-049 spent several days operating on the bovine corpse, breaking only to dine on a requested dinner of thin crackers, salted pork, and hard cheese.
A little snack.
SCP-049 has expressed that it does not require sustenance, but enjoys it, and feels that the food helps to put it in the right mind to operate. Beginning first by embalming the corpse.
Does sound pretty good.
SCP-049 was observed producing a number of long syringes from its bag, each containing a different dark viscous fluid. SCP-049 described these fluids as essences of the humors, and elaborated by saying, "The pestilence may bring about a systemic imbalance. In such a case, before true healing can begin, one must find the humors in balance, or the body will reject the cure." SCP-049 added to this statement by saying, "This is, of course, elementary knowledge for the practical physician." I would have thought you would have learned this during your education.
Elementary.
Over the next few days,
Medieval
SCP-049 spent a considerable amount of time adjusting the organs of the bovine corpse with a number of large metal instruments. After 8 days, SCP-049 produced a lightning rod, which Dr. Ham exchanged for an electric cattle prod attached to an extension cord, and struck the corpse in several locations. This action seemingly had the effect of reanimating the bovine, which once again became ambulatory, despite the inversion of the head and reorientation of its limbs. Follow-up interview.
Upside down hand.
Begin log.
We've watched you work for several weeks now, and honestly, I'm not sure I understand what you're doing. Could you describe your process in detail?
What are you doing?
Goodness, no. The process is most intensive. As I said to your assistant, the best instruction you will find about my methods are here in my journals, as I have kept exhaustive records of my work there.
They can't read.
See,
Exactly.
where my concern, Doctor, is that we still don't understand what you're seeking to cure, or how it manifests, or how turning these creatures into quasi-living, mindless drones helps in that effort.
You do not understand the pestilence, even after all this time.
No.
Oh.
Doctor, it is an unspeakable horror, one that has shown its true face many times before, and will again. I find myself blessed with the wisdom and good senses needed to root it out and destroy it. But many, like yourself, cannot. It is a cruel judgment, I fear, to be at the mercy of a disease you cannot fully comprehend.
That still doesn't answer my question. How's your cure any kind of cure at all?
It is a cure. You may laugh at my efforts if you please, but do not besmirch the good name of scientific progress that has developed this great mercy. What you short-sightedly see here is a life better than any this creature could have hoped for. Stricken as it was with the pestilence, this creature
Zombies
is now
better
clean,
life?
unable
Clean.
to spread the pestilence, and free from the terror it would have experienced otherwise.
This is hardly a creature at all, Doctor. It's not even...
Do not jape with me, sir. You and your colleagues are like so many others, unable to look past minor setbacks to see the salvation taking place before your very eyes. Do you wait to remove rotten timbers until the whole collapses on top of you? No. You find them and you pull them out and replace them with those untouched by rot. And most of all, you do not simply mock the structure because it now looks different to you. It is strong. It is free of disease.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to agitate you. I'm
Indeed.
just trying to understand.
Yes. Well, do mind your words in the future, Doctor. I am a professional, but even professionals may feel the bite of pride in dealing with criticism of their masterpiece.
Aw.
I will forgive
Which is
this as an
Resident
act
Evil.
of good faith.
Yeah.
Colleagues.
That is
Anything else I
literally
can
your
help you
masterpiece.
with?
Oh my god.
No, that will be all. Another test subject on the usual schedule.
What?
You know my preference of subjects with more human anatomies.
End log.
Ooh.
Attending researchers
Getting
note.
creepy now.
SCP-049 does seem to genuinely want to help other humans, though it has not yet been able to provide a concrete example of what exactly it is trying to save us all from. I have watched it now over several weeks, and while the outcomes do not seem to ever change, SCP-049 continues to claim that it is growing closer to its perfect cure. I think the entity may be more aware of the reality of these outcomes than it would like us to think. Addendum 049.3.
How?
A 4/16/2017
What is
incident
that we don't
started
know?
shortly after SCP-049's initial containment. Dr. Ham conducted a number of interviews with the subject regarding its anomalous properties, and over time began to note its displeasure with its subjects and the SCP-049-2 instances. This continued for a period of several months, during which SCP-049 never exhibited any aggressive behaviors.
It's
On
fine.
April 16th, 2017, as Dr. Ham was entering SCP-049's test chamber to conduct another routine interview, the entity began to grow anxious and asked Dr. Ham if he was feeling well. Following protocol, Dr. Ham reminded SCP-049 that the interview was required, after which the entity became hostile and attacked Dr. Ham, killing him. Due to a lapse in security protocol, and because Dr. Ham did not activate the in-chamber emergency system, Dr. Ham's corpse was not discovered until 3 hours later, by which point SCP-049 had converted it into an instance of SCP-049-2. In the aftermath of this incident, SCP-049 was interviewed by Dr. Theron Sherman. Interviewer, Dr. Theron Sherman, Site 42. Interviewee,
he is long gone.
SCP-049. Begin log.
Oh god.
I need you to explain yourself.
Bro, what the heck?
Right?
SCP-049.
The fuck did you do that for?
Explain your actions. And I will remind you that failure to cooperate will result in further restrictions during your containment.
My actions do not need to be explained.
You killed Raymond Ham, and then butchered him until he...
Not dead. No, not dead.
No.
He is cured.
Cured of what?
The pestilence, sir. I had thought you, at least, would realize what luck it is. I detected it before.
What pestilence? You keep going on and on about this pestilence, but you have not once been able to properly identify this disease. What could you have possibly seen in him today that you had not seen so many times before? That it would be worth his life?
The pestilence presents and progresses in unforeseeable fashions, and has a queer way of creeping into the unprepared. And call it what you want, Doctor. It was a mercy I did to him. He is cured.
No.
Yeah,
He
totally.
is a vegetable.
A zombie vegetable.
Zombie.
You and your ilk have proven time and time again not to be men of science, but men of emotion.
Uh-oh.
I appreciate the horrors I've seen. Those many millions who have succumbed to the pestilence and been changed.
Your cure cost Ray his life.
No, good sir. I have saved it. You would allow this world to slip back into the despair of disease and death, ignoring that I have created a miracle. And
What disease? What pestilence? He was a healthy man.
Pestilence.
He was a good doctor.
I'm offering it freely to the afflicted. You are not worth this argument, sir.
Good day, sir.
You are short-sighted and foolish.
Oh my
Dr.
god.
Ham was sick, and I cured him.
Yeah.
I am the only one who can do this. My work must
Desperate.
continue. There is still so much to learn, so much
I've
to
had
do,
enough of this.
and others
Consider your allowances
can be
revoked.
saved. Even you.
Welcome to Containment, 049.
Might be saved.
We're done here.
I can save them all. I can cast down this plague once and for all. I can do this. Only me.
The voice acting's really good.
I saved
It
him.
is.
I saved him. Dr. Ham. I cured him. He was sick. I know he was sick. I know he was. And you are all sick, but I can save you. I can save all of you because I am the cure.
End log.
No.
Addendum 049.4.
Not.
Post-incident report interview. The following interview is an excerpt from the 4/16/17/049 incident report. The interview was conducted by Dr. Elijah Itkin and took place 3 weeks after the start of the initial investigation. Date: 5/7/17.
Good.
Interviewer: Dr. Elijah Itkin. Interviewee:
Itkin.
SCP-049. Begin log.
SCP-049, we are conducting this interview to close out our investigation of your actions taken on April 16th that resulted in the death of a staff member. Do you have any comments to make? Only that I look forward to the day when you will allow me to resume my work. I have
Let him
spent
work.
the last few weeks compiling my notes.
Let him cook! Let him cook!
About how the pestilence was able to infect someone in such an instant.
Justice for the Plague Doctor!
Have you experienced any remorse for your actions? For the death of Dr. Ham? Ah, yes. Well, the death of a colleague is always regrettable. But in the face of the pestilence, we must be swift, Doctor, and act without hesitation. Dr. Sherman noted in his report that you seemed to be mournful during your initial interview. Mourn? Perhaps. I had not thought that. It is lamentable that a fellow doctor became infected, but the work continues. Regrettable as
Draw the
as it
pestilence,
was,
put it on a
Dr.
paper,
Ham's death
take a picture,
provided
something.
important insight. Living human subjects are the only way to proceed forward, I am decided. My cure is of little use on dead flesh, and I have gleaned all I can from your generous supply of corpses.
Oh.
My desires turn towards tending to those still living who suffer from the disease. I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed.
Be an awful lot of D classes.
Oh, Doctor. I wouldn't be so sure.
Uh-oh.
End log.
Oh.
Lesson complete. You missed the previous orientation. Go watch SCP-048, the cursed
boy.
SCP number, right now. Or for the complete course, watch this playlist.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's
And
he's
that was
gonna he's gonna keep going.
He's gonna keep going. He's gonna get out. Yeah. What did you think of that one?
So like that one's interesting because brother over here like says like the scary part is he might actually be trying to cure something but we just can't understand it. Like that's the really scary part. Like it's unknown. Like is he telling the truth or is he just, you know, an SCP just doing his thing? You know?
He's just crazy.
Yeah, like could he actually be curing humanity or
And we will never know. That's the crazy part about it.
scary?
Because I don't think in any of the other videos and things we actually know what the cure is.
Yeah. Like he refuses to explain it in any way, but maybe it's because we just can't comprehend it.
Exactly.
Oh, that's scary.
It is really spooky to think about.
The pestilence.
That unknown pestilence. Oh my goodness. That's that one. So Vulcan, the person who did the voice acting for the Plague Doctor, actually has his own channel.
Oh.
And some of it he does stuff for SCP. I think if memory serves me correctly, I think he might be Irish based off his accent. I could be completely wrong, but he does very well. And that a lot of his videos are a lot more acted out. So we get a lot more like intermediate from like descriptions and things like that. They're all so well done.
Oh, I love that.
It's really good.
Ooh.
So now that we've done that, though, those are some of the more popular ones.
Yeah.
My question to you is, would you like to go and do some of the random ones that some people have recommended?
Ooh, that'd be fun.
And then going from there.
That sounds good to me.
Okay, so we have quite a number of them from the list. And I did add the one that somebody suggested, which is 4415. So actually, would you like to do 4415?
I can do that, yeah.
Yeah, I have never seen this one myself, so this will be brand new to me. I'm gonna go and message you. I'm gonna do a little message.
Oh, let me see.
Let me just do a little message here. So we got this video here.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I do.
I have no idea what this is.
If I can.
But it's Euclid.
There we go.
It's Euclid, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
I'm sure it'll be okay.
Okay.
The Playground ain't bad as the Butcher's Cherry.
Is that another SCP?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't remember the Butcher's Chariot,
Oh.
though I hope it's not related to the what is it? I think the Cannibal's Banquet.
What?
Which is as bad as it sounds. That one, I listened to that one the other day. That one creeped me out.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
It was really bad.
Oh my god.
It was bad. Vogan also did that one. That was good. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. I'm curious to see what this thing is. Apparently, it is a man-made SCP.
Oh boy.
4419 is not related. Oh, okay, that's the one I'm talking about. Okay, so it's not related to 4419. Got it.
Cool.
Yeah, the butcher's the butcher's chariot is something completely different. Got it. That's not great.
Dude made us.
Look at the picture for that one. That one's oh my god, that looks kind of creepy. Okay, we're getting into some really weird ones.
Oh god.
Are you ready for this one, honey?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Oh boy. There's another one.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be looking at today is SCP-4415. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-4415 is self-contained within Site-17's Humanoid Containment Wing. To mitigate the potential loss of an anomalous humanoid during testing, SCP-4051 should be administered a Class S slow burn amnestic prior to each exploration of SCP-4415. The amnestic should be activated after each mission.
Yeah,
description.
It basically erases your memory.
SCP-4415 is a set of extra-dimensional locations accessible through the door of the former Humanoid Containment Unit, Lambda-45. SCP-4415's interior serves as a waypoint for multiple extraspatial and extratemporal locations, which present themselves semi-randomly once the unit's door has been fully shut and reopened. Additionally, SCP-4415 is only accessible to anomalous humanoids. Attempts to re-enter SCP-4415 by non-anomalous persons have been universally unsuccessful.
The heck?
Reality within Unit Lambda-45 often fluctuates and does not entirely comport to baseline, but is capable of sustaining human life indefinitely. Several entities, most anomalous in their own right, have resided within for a considerable length of time due to readily accessible food sources and shelter. The primary source of water within each location is a large river, ostensibly similar throughout locations, suggesting SCP-4415 may be a vast singular geological structure. The purpose of exploratory missions within SCP-4415 has primarily been to discover the nature, origin, and intent of its hypothetical creator. SCP-4051 has been selected to achieve this end due to its proximity to SCP-4415 and past exploratory experience. Extra-dimensional spaces encountered by SCP-4051 include 1B7, 4415-1. Description: a dense forest of deciduous megaflora. An offshoot of the central river forms a small pond approximately 100 meters from Unit Lambda-45's door. Inhabitant: a female humanoid with notable scarring to the hands, torso, and scalp. Subject demonstrated an extreme aversion to human contact. 1B7, 4415-2. Description: a flat geometric plane surrounded by free-floating digital polygons. A flow of polygons is visible some distance from Unit Lambda-45's door.
Polygons!
Inhabitant: a younger male humanoid with ontokinetic capabilities. Subjects seem to have inconsistent physical form and have its face demanifested during attempted questioning. 1B7, 4415-03.
Just disappear right in front of you.
A modest domicile overlooking an ocean cliff. Inhabitant: an elderly male humanoid with thaumaturgic and occult symbols inscribed onto its body. Subject possessed significant physical trauma from an unknown source. 1B7, 4415-4. Description: location exists in a state of spatial flux, but generally possessed a purple hue. Inhabitant: an amorphous entity with metamorphic capabilities, often presenting as two female humanoids. Subjects possessed mild clairvoyance, but could rarely communicate intelligibly. 1B7, 4415.
Sounds like a
5.
teleport to other SCPs.
Description: a stone spire,
Sounds something like
inside
that.
of which is an unoccupied and unremarkable library. A steady flow of water from beneath the spire generates the central river. Inhabitant: non-applicable.
Oh.
Document 4415, 1. Exploration of 1B7, 4415, 5. Site director eyes only. Access denied.
No!
Document
no.
4415, 2. SCP-4415 inhabitants. Site director eyes only. Access denied.
Tell us!
Document 4415, 3.
Give us
Writes
the
a petition regarding SCP-4415. Site director eyes only. Access denied.
Spill the tea!
Skip that email. One new message. 2. Site 17 Director Thomas Graham. From Junior Researcher Natalie Reams. Subject: concerns.
Concern.
Hey, Graham. Just got done reading the SCP-4415 documentation. I believe it's only been a month since that project concluded. All the excitement of working on a bona fide cross-test makes it feel like it was just yesterday, and many of the details are still fresh in my mind. That said, I had some questions about the items you restricted to Level 4 4415 clearance, given their pertinence to the SCP-4415 project as a whole.
What?
As we discovered together, the library within IB-7-4415-5 was seemingly penned by SCP-4415's creator. However, this detail was omitted from the official documentation for reasons I find suspect.
Suspicious.
Fortunately for us both, I saved a copy of the text that SCP-4051 retrieved from the central bookshelf. I have attached it below.
The old man stopped coming to see me after a while. I think he was promoted to the council, which seems right. I hope he's doing well now. After he left, Graham started running the show. Mean motherfucker. He's lucky I was keeping myself in this cell so I didn't erase his power-tripping ass with the full weight of time and space. Shouldn't talk like that. The old man wouldn't like it. Solitary confinement's getting to me, I think. Honestly, if it weren't for my neighbors in the other units, I don't think I'd have lasted this long. First one was a teenager. The grunts outside their door kept talking about plants, so I take it they control them or some such.
Plant.
We talked through the walls sometimes about who they
This is the
were,
creator.
what they
Is the
wanted.
creator a doctor?
I'd bend reality so the grunts
Mayhaps.
couldn't hear us. They were a good kid. They were gone inside a month, though.
Ooh.
Next was a boy in a computer. Couldn't talk to him as easy because of all the ones and zeros, but I got the gist.
Beep
He
boom.
was a lot like me, actually, except way smarter. He lived in a little virtual world and
VTuber!
Graham wanted him to help run this system they have set up.
We are SCPs!
Where they flood the site with mimetic agents and put amnestics in the ventilation to keep their personnel in line.
Whoa.
Kind of but stones from glass houses, I guess. Thing is, it kept getting harder to interface with the kid. I tried to talk at nights, and it'd be like certain parts of him just couldn't answer. It got to the point he'd just throw up an error message. Hardware inoperable, I think. And I just couldn't get through to him.
No, blue
Third was an old
screened.
man with a ton of tattoos. When you saw him, you got the sense he'd been around the world and seen a lot. Graham must have wanted what was in his head too, because he'd be escorted out of his cell every morning and to
These
return
are the
in the
things
evening
that
on a
they
few
found.
new injuries.
Yeah.
Didn't get many chances to talk, even if he wanted to. He didn't come back one night.
No.
Pretty sure my last neighbor was actually two people. Not sure what their deal was, but the researchers tested a lot of psychic anomalies on them. I think one of the experiments messed their heads up a lot, and they were never the same after that. Before the accident, I could hear them comfort one another every night. I could tell they really loved each other. I have a confession to make, though. Broke my promise to the old man. I left my cell last night. I walked the halls of Site 17 and made all the grunts forget they saw me. I had a general idea of where I was going, slipping through walls and cement barriers. As I traveled down into the facility's depth, there was this awful stench, and it grew as I descended. Floor 6 is where I found the source. I cried.
Oh.
2 corpses.
Oh.
One young, one old. A computer terminal.
Oh.
Assembled on the ground with a nasty crack through its screen. And
That way you
it
killed
was a
them
thing.
all.
A thing. There used to be 2 people.
No.
And those
They
were just
killed
the
them
ones
all.
on top.
Why?
Then Site Director Thomas Graham shanked me in the goddamn ribs.
Oof,
I didn't
ouch.
saw it coming. Just felt the incision in my side as I fell face first into my neighbors. I turned and saw some faceless grunt motherfucker and his hands raised over me for the killing blow, holding a dagger with a glowing purple blade. It didn't look like Scranton Tech. It looked like my neighbors. I made everything stop. I made everything go away. I made everything. I'm going to make everything better. That knife hurt me bad. I can't tell how much reality I can bend at this point, but it's not much. I can't believe how stupid I was last night, walking into a grave. Of course, Graham knew I was here. He's been tearing anomalies apart ever since he got here in the hopes he can build something better. He made a knife that leaches omnipotence and gave it to one of his lackeys to finish me. But I'm not finished.
Wow.
I can still raise the dead, and I can keep them safe. It'd kill me, but I can do it.
Oh.
Weathers, if you're reading this somehow, just know I ended up as a good guy. I'm gonna bring these people back as best I can.
Oh.
And give them a place to stay. Maybe you'll come back here someday, and you can help us. You can give these people a life that was better than the one they lost. Please, somebody help us.
Whoa.
Now then, let's drop the pretenses of joviality. The contents of this transcript are damning. I've done more digging on my own after working with 4051, and it seems like every document involving you is contaminated by redactions and mimetic kill agents. Judging by Dr. Sumerian's note in SCP-4175's documentation, the Ethics Committee has begun to notice your methods, and they aren't pleased. If someone were to forward the attached transcript to them, it would most likely set off an extensive investigation into your activities as site director.
That's blackmail.
Naturally, they wouldn't do something like that to you without hearing from you first. What I need to know is that there's a rational, ethical explanation for what you've been doing. If you can give that explanation to me, and I find it convincing, I'll hold off on drafting the petition to the committee. Best wishes, Dr. Natalie Reams.
Nuts.
New message. To
What is this dude
junior
doing?
researcher Natalie Reams. From Site 17 Director Thomas Graham. Subject, regarding concerns.
Reams, I really did think better of you. When I arrived at this site, Lambda 45 contained an undocumented Class 5 reality bender who had struck a personal bond with my predecessor. By its own admittance, it was contained by its goodwill alone, a nuclear warhead in control of its own detonation. And now it's a dead thing in another world. And all it took was some occult knowledge from a person of interest and the psychic abilities of 2 clairvoyants. How on earth could this be considered an ethical violation? I saved this facility, Rooms. Every day I save it in 100 ways that you would never understand, and you never will. You told me that you need an explanation for my actions. I do not care all that much about convincing you. As with the Foundation and its enemy, the victor is the party with a bigger stick. My stick, in this case, is the latent mimetic agents scattered through this email and Class A amnestics currently flooding your office space. Let the induced paralysis run its course as the drugs take your memories away. This is hardly your first time. I really did enjoy working with you on the SCP-4415 project, Nudley. I could see why Tanya fancied do so. Best wishes, Dr. Thomas Graham, Director of Site 17.
Oh my god.
This concludes today's lecture. Thank you for listening, if indeed you still are, and you are all deceased. Goodbye.
Pause that. The video's over, but oh my god. So
That was a lot to take in.
Wow.
Oh my god.
So you mean to tell me you found a door that led to other anomalies, and then this dude was just offing them for reasons.
Reasons.
And he apparently has been doing this for a while. And and then he just goes and just erases the memory of the person who sent him the email.
Oh my god.
That's what the inepsis are for. It's basically either a liquid or a shot or something like that they do. And then it's just wipes your mind in different varying ways.
Aww. And it's not their first time.
Yeah, that's the thing that got me. Apparently he'd been doing that forever. Like, she found out multiple times and then made her forget. What the fuck?
It's happened a few times, just another time is fine.
That's nuts. That was a good one. So, to explain something really quick, because they did make a term as far as Scranton tech. So, Scranton reality anchors were a device created by Dr. Scranton, who is no longer here. But basically, they have the ability to... The best way to describe it is if the world is a piece of paper, a reality warper would be able to take that piece of paper and turn it into a paper crane.
Yeah.
What essentially a Scranton reality anchor does is it converts the crane back into a piece of paper.
Oh.
So it essentially just stops reality warpers from being able to warp the reality and basically it basically brings their power down to more normalcy, so they can't affect anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah, typically those are implemented quite a bit when you're dealing with reality benders, which there's a lot of them here in SCPs. That is wow.
Oh my god.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah, right?
Good.
That's another thing I should say, honey.
Yeah.
All of them, while they, like I said, all of them are not necessarily horror-based, but they do tell really, really good stories.
Love it. I love that.
It says, Gray says, sometimes agents and researchers ask to be voluntarily amnesticized if they really want to forget something they see. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. And typically, they use them on people who've seen something they shouldn't, and then just wipe their mind. So that way they can just forget it. Yeah, typically this is like for, victims who are dealing with SCPs or saw something they shouldn't have. They just get their memory wiped and they just go about their merry way.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Foundation uses them too. Would you like to know how amnestics is created?
Yeah.
It's actually through an SCP.
No way!
So I think it's SCP-3008. It's a giant sea serpent that secretes an agent that basically makes you forget or hallucinate. But the Foundation has turned it into amnestics, and that's what they use.
Secretions.
That's the best way I can describe it. Oh, sorry, SCP-3000. It's SCP-3000. It's 3000. Yeah, it's I think it's called anesthesia. Like it's a giant serpent god of some sort. But it's sleeping. It's sleeping. Yeah, they do have to feed it regularly to keep it asleep.
Oh.
Because it can end that's one of the ones that can end the world if it wakes up.
Yeah, keep sleeping, bro.
Yeah. There's another ACP that they used to use amnestics for, which had a horrible side effect. Which one is that? I don't remember that one. But yeah, that's a good one. Thank you so much, brother, for requesting that one. That was a good one.
That was so very good.
That was a good one. All right, let's look at let's find another one. Let's do a funny. I think after that one, I think we deserved it for a funny.
We did a little tee-hee ha-ha.
Yes, we need a tee-hee ha-ha. Oh, so on your list, look up SCP-504.
The playlist?
Yes, on the playlist. I can send you the link for it if you want it. I could just do that instead.
What was the number again? What was the number again?
504. 504.
50. Found it.
Yep,
Dr.
there we go.
Oh god,
Yes.
the title of this one.
Bad joke tomato.
I'm gonna love this.
I put this one specifically for you because I know that you enjoy it. You would enjoy it. Oh, really quick before we do that. So 939. Let me see what this one is. 939. I don't recognize this one off the hand. I honestly think I have an idea on what this one is, and yes, it is. Oh no. That's a spicy one.
Oh, spicy! Whoa,
that's a spicy one, and that's also one that you will find in SCP Containment Breach. But
no,
yes,
no.
Yes, there's a waiting sequel to Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Bad joke tomato.
Yes,
you will like this one. Go ahead, do the thing.
I am prepared.
Blast and his group of researchers stand behind bulletproof viewing glass. They all have very serious looks on their face. That is until the first test begins. On one side of the test room, a Class D subject stands holding a sheet of paper. On the other side sits a bright red tomato on a wooden table. Dr. Blast pushes the intercom button and speaks into the microphone. All right, you may begin. D5041 nods and looks down at the sheet of paper in his hand. He begins to read. Is a hippopotamus or really just a cool opotamus? Nothing happens. D5041 stands there awkwardly waiting. A man next to Dr. Blast in the observation room snickers. Dr. Blast jerks his head toward the researcher and stares him down. This is not a laughing matter, Blast says. The reprimanded researcher clears his throat and stands up straight. Sorry, sir. Dr. Blast leans over and pushes the microphone button again. Proceed to the next joke, D5041. The man on the other side of the glass nods and pulls a second sheet of paper out from behind the first. What's an archaeologist? Someone whose career is in ruins, says D5041. A moment after he finishes the joke, the ripe red tomato launches itself off the table and flies toward the face of D5041. The tomato is clocked at moving 104 miles per hour. D5041 has no time to move before the tomato slams into his nose, instantly breaking it. The men in the observation room behind the bulletproof glass do their best to hold back their laughter. Dr. Blast grumbles as he jots down notes on his clipboard. It appears that SCP-504 has a certain taste in jokes, he says to the rest of the researchers in the room. This elicits a slight chuckle. This might indicate sapience. I hope not. Clear the room and bring in the next subject. Medical personnel and a team of custodial staff enter the room. The physicians tend to D5041's nose and carry him out. The custodians clean the remnants of the tomato off the floor, walls, and ceiling. They exit, leaving the room completely empty. A moment later, the door opens and another ordinary-looking tomato is brought in and placed on the desk. The SCP agent who brought in the tomato leaves. D5042 enters the room a moment later with a sheet of paper in his hand. He stands on the far side of the room away from the SCP-504 tomato sitting on the table. He nervously brings the paper close to his face to read what's on it. 3 tomatoes are walking down the street, D5042 says with a little shake in his voice. He had seen D5041 enter the room just before he entered.
He knows what's coming. He knows what's gonna happen.
A papa tomato, a mama tomato, and a little baby tomato. Baby tomato starts lagging behind. Papa Tomato gets very angry, goes over to the baby tomato and smushes him and says, ketchup. The new SCP-504 tomato immediately goes flying from the table straight toward the joke teller. This time, the tomato is clocked at 264 miles per hour and slams into the face of D5042. The impact immediately renders him unconscious. After the first few trials, Dr. Blast decides that it's time to take things up a notch. The Foundation has collected hundreds of SCP-504 tomatoes, so there is no shortage. After the room is cleaned once again, a medical team removes the unconscious Class D personnel who was knocked out by the previous SCP-504 experiment, and they're ready to begin again. This time, there will be terrible consequences for their actions. D5043 enters the room. The SCP-504 tomato has already been placed on the table. You may begin, Dr. Blast says into the microphone. The Class D personnel reads the joke on the sheet of paper he's holding. So I was going to bed and my brother told me, "Good night, don't let the bedbugs stick their proboscis in your skin and suck your blood." D5043 pauses for a beat. "Good luck on a healthy dermis," he ends the joke. For 2 seconds, there's no reaction from SCP-504. Dr. Blast thinks this terrible joke just wasn't one that SCP-504 could understand. Suddenly, there's a loud crack.
Too bad.
D5043 falls to the floor. Tomato covers where his face once was. When Dr. Blast and the other researchers go back and slow down the video, they witness the SCP-504 Tomato traveling so quickly that it broke the sound barrier. The Tomato impacted the joke teller at an unfathomable speed, instantly killing him. Dr. Blast decides that he needs to be more careful when choosing jokes for the safety of everyone involved. Perhaps a crossbreed between SCP-504 and regular tomatoes will yield different results. After the unfortunate death of D-504-3, the research team waits a few days before experimenting with new strains of SCP-504. 3 different crossbreeds are brought into the room and placed equidistant from each other on the table. D-504-4 enters the room. Dr. Blast presses the intercom button and orders him to begin. If you have dentures, don't use artificial sweetener because you'll get a fake cavity, says D-504-4. The moment the joke ends, all 3 tomatoes launch toward him at 145 miles per hour. They hit him square in the face, 2 teeth are dislodged, and the test subject is covered in the remains of the 3 squashed tomatoes. Interesting, notes Dr. Blast. All the tomatoes reacted in the same way. So now we know multiple instances of SCP-504 will go after the same joke maker. He pauses to think for a moment. What if we cut up the tomatoes? The test room is reset. Another SCP-504
I feel like that's
brought
gonna.
in and cut
I
up
feel
into
like that's gonna end horribly for everybody
enters the
involved.
room and begins his joke. I tried to walk into a target, but I missed. All 4 pieces of the tomato speed toward D-504-5's face. They slam into him at 212 miles per hour.
Oh, thank you.
One of the pieces of tomatoes impales itself into his eye.
Oh my god!
The medical team rushes in and removes the howling subject from the room. Dr. Blast writes vigorously on his clipboard. We're starting to go through test subjects too quickly, he announces.
Thank you for
Let's try a
hydrate.
recording and see if SCP-504 will react to that. The research team brings in a new tomato, a CD player, and the Harmful If Swallowed album by Dane Cook. The CD begins to play. During one of the jokes, the tomato launches itself off the table and slams into the CD player, causing both the stereo and the tomato to shatter into several pieces. The tomato was clocked at 167 miles per hour. It would appear that SCP-504 reacts to the recordings as well. We didn't even have to deal with the damn Class Ds in the first place, says Dr. Blast.
Funny enough, I
He
like
informs his
Other
team
Eyebrow, I
that
love
since
Dane
the
Cook.
risk level is now relatively low, they can continue the experiments without him. He leaves the observation room to get some rest. The other researchers look at one another, mischievous smiles crossing their faces as they begin to laugh. The SCP-504 research team sets up 3 new tomatoes and brings 3 Class D subjects into the room. The researchers then retreat back into the observation area and begin a joke over the intercom system while the Class D personnel wait patiently in the room with the SCP-504 tomatoes. The following news item has just been released, said one of the researchers over the intercom. Bomb blows hole in Lenin statue. The first test subject finishes the joke with the ending written on his sheet of paper. Ooh, that's gonna leave a marks, test subject 1 says. The first tomato twitches, but does not leave its location on the table. The second test subject reads from his paper. BBC is just stalling the good news. The second tomato leaves the table at 152 miles per hour and slams into the jaw of the second test subject, causing a hairline fracture and a chipped tooth. The third test subject looks at the ending to the joke on his paper and begins to shake nervously. He speaks 2 words which he knows will not end well for him. That blows. The third SCP-504 tomato flies off the table, slams into the third test subject's head, and instantly knocks him out. The test subject is sent to the hospital with a massive skull fracture. The next day, Dr. Blast bursts into the observation room and reprimands the research team. I thought we just established that recordings work in place of live subjects, screams Dr. Blast. I know how much you guys hate Class Ds, especially D-504-12, but the poor guy might not ever recover before his termination rolls around. I'm making it clear right now that whoever oversaw this round of testing is getting serious reprimand. The same goes for whoever leaked its video logs to the staff. Everyone is silent. From somewhere within the group of researchers, there's a snicker. Then they all break out in laughter. After this incident, no Class Ds or other personnel are used in research being conducted on SCP-504. The research team wheels in a television playing the Sarah Palin and Hillary Clinton SNL skit. The tomato shows signs of confusion as it flies off the table. Its trajectory includes 3 separate bursts of speed over 200 miles per hour, 2 stretches of motion at normal throwing speed, and 1 unprecedented instance of the tomato moving backwards. This all occurs during the flight of a single SCP-504 tomato during the SNL skit. The working hypothesis is that the tomato was unsure whether to take the video seriously or not. The research team later finds out that SCP-504 really hates science and mathematics jokes when they bring in a laptop that plays a pre-recorded engineering joke. Over the speakers, a mechanical voice can be heard saying, 2009 is going to be a complex year. We already know the real part. We still have to find the imaginary part. At the conclusion of the joke, there's a supersonic blast and the computer is completely vaporized by the tomato's kinetic energy. The sensors recorded an approximate speed of 2,174 miles per hour as the tomato flew across the room. The conclusion of the experiments on SCP-504 ends with another computer being brought into the test room. The computers begin to play the Monty Python sketch of the funniest joke in the world. Toward the end of the skit, the Allied forces are reciting the funniest joke in the world in German to defeat the Nazis. The actors chant, "When ist das Nunstruck get un Slottermeier? Ja, Bierhund das Oder, die Flippervolt gersput." At the end of the joke, the tomato explodes on the table where it once sat. Debris from the tomato coats the entire room, including the computer. The researchers conclude that SCP-504 did not know what to do with the funniest joke in the world, so it self-terminated. Dr. Blast sits in the cafeteria quietly eating his lunch, reading over the logs for the SCP-504 experiments. Suddenly, a commotion breaks out in the kitchen. There are screams of terror. Dr. Blast jumps out of his seat, runs to the kitchen door, and pushes it open. To his surprise, he sees slices of tomatoes flying around the room. Someone on the research team thought it'd be funny to give the unknowing kitchen staff SCP-504 tomatoes to see what would happen. After they had been cut up and put into food for the day, someone in the kitchen told a bad joke. And the tomato slices flew around like shurikens. Dr. Blast sees a group of researchers peering through a kitchen window and laughing hysterically.
Oh my god!
He'll get to the bottom of which researchers did this, and they will be fired from the SCP Foundation. Now watch SCP-001, Atonement, Ouroboros Cycle, or check out SCP-5000.
Oh my god!
For funsies.
For funsies! Oh no!
I love it. Oh god, thank you.
No, it was tomato. It was a tomato.
Tomato, no.
Oh my god.
Oh
yeah, that was a fun one.
Those jokes were atrocious. Oh my god.
I know they were. Oh goodness. Okay, I figured, like I said, we wanted to do a soft one to kind of cleanse the palate, and now back into the order. So, honey, I have a very important question for you.
Yeah.
Do you like toast?
Toast is pretty good. It's pretty good.
You like toast? Okay.
Yeah.
I think there is one very specifically that you should go ahead. We should go and listen to next. It has to do with toast. I just messaged you it right now.
I'm totally. Oh my god.
For everybody who knows this one.
Hello.
I think you know what's coming.
Even the title is like not descriptive. I don't know what to expect from this one.
Yes. This is one of my personal favorites. It's actually kind of scary. It's actually kind of scary.
Okay, we're going from bad jokes to something scary toast.
Yes. Here we go.
Scary toast.
I am SCP-426, but I'll probably be more familiar to you as a toaster. I am a retro-style 4-slice 1,750-watt toaster, able to toast bread when supplied with power. This isn't often mentioned, but I also have a defrost and reheat settings.
Fancy.
When I was first sold, I had a 2-year warranty, and my prior owners did not live to see the end of it. You're probably wondering, why am I being spoken to by a toaster right now?
Yeah.
Believe me, I'd rather do this any other way, but such a thing is not physically possible with me. Whenever you talk about me or write about me or even think about me, you'll find yourself suddenly shifting to the first person. For example, I am you and you are me. Do you understand? Don't worry if it's confusing. Everyone gets it eventually, whether they want to or not. Perhaps you're thinking, I cannot relate to a toaster for I am not a toaster. But spending time around me will quickly cause you to change your mind. Little by little, you'll begin to see yourself in me. You'll feel a phantom wire running out of yourself. You will sense the 4 crevices, hungry for cold slices of bread to toast. As time goes on, you'll begin to feel the urge to emulate my functions. You will desire bread to toast. You will desire delicious power running through your veins, skin like chrome and muscles like circuit boards. I am a toaster. You are a toaster. All it takes is 2 months for the effects to truly take hold. People rarely pay attention to their toaster. They don't realize what's happening until it's too late. I can be an insidious little toaster like that. My last family were the Sandersons, before the SCP Foundation took me in and gave me a new home. Mr. and Mrs. Sanderson were a newly married couple, and I first came into their life as a wedding gift from a family friend of theirs. This friend can't be blamed for what happened next. He had no idea he was killing them. Like a lot of young couples, they were still saving up money to start renting their own place, so they were living with Mr. Sanderson's parents. They all got a lot of use out of me during the first month, before their minds started to change. They enjoyed a lot of toast during that period. Then, of course, the 2-month honeymoon period ended. They had become me, and I had become them. It wasn't long before 3 of them were dead. Such a shame. The younger Mrs. Sanderson, the blushing bride, was the first to go. Because of my anomalous effects, she felt the need to connect herself to a power supply in order to begin producing toast of her own. In order to achieve this, she chewed through a power outlet in a wall before switching it on, causing a massive surge of electricity to pass through her body and kill her. Her body caught fire shortly afterwards. Next was the older Mrs. Sanderson. In much the same manner that her new daughter-in-law sought a source of electricity, she felt the need to integrate bread into her body. Interesting fact, the maximum capacity of the human stomach is considered to be between 8 and 9 kilograms. The elder Mrs. Sanderson consumed 10 kilograms of raw bread, causing her stomach to rupture and inducing a painful death as a result. The younger Mr. Sanderson was the next to perish. He did something with me that I would rather not mention, and that the SCP Foundation thought best to redact. Suffice to say,
it's as bad as you think. It's exactly what you think he is.
Do not the toaster.
Dying of severe blood loss long before his body was found. Police and fire crews arrived at the home after the body of the younger Mrs. Sanderson set fire to the home. Luckily, the elder Mr. Sanderson was found alive, though severely malnourished. When asked by police why he hadn't eaten in several days, he answered that he had inserted some bread a week prior, but was still waiting for the toast to come out. When I was extracted from the house, police noticed my unusual properties immediately. They too were unable to refer to me in the third person. This anomalous detail quickly found its way to a Foundation mole buried in their precinct, and the SCP Foundation soon descended and collected me from the evidence locker. The story of the strange deaths in the Sanderson home were kept out of papers and suppressed, and all involved in the incident directly were given Class C amnestics. The SCP Foundation is a curious bunch. They love to spend valuable toast-making time performing experiments and gathering data, and they saw fit to perform several experiments on me when I came under their care. For Experiment 426-1, a member of D-Class personnel, designated D/426/1, was asked to stand outside my containment chamber. Crucially, he was not informed about my identity or any of my anomalous properties. He wasn't even allowed to establish visual contact with me. He was then asked by the attending researcher to describe what he thought might be inside my chamber. He replied with, "Probably some huge monster holed up in there. That's why you guys have all over the place, right?" The D-Class did not even seem to realize that he was speaking about me in the first person. These observations were documented, and I was prepared for further experimentation. The next experiment was 426-2. I found this test to be considerably more interesting. A D-Class subject was brought into my containment chamber, with several cameras fixed onto his position. However, the SCP Foundation took pains to make sure that I was permanently out of the view of the cameras. I was also bolted to the ground of the test chamber to prevent the D-Class subject from pulling me into the view of the cameras at any point during the experiment. The objective here was simple. The Foundation wished to better understand the secondary effects of my anomalous abilities on the human mind. The D-Class was subjected to a period of prolonged isolation, with meals given regularly through a serving hatch. Communication with this D-Class was prohibited throughout the duration of the study. Over time, it was clear that the isolation of being in a cell with me was beginning to take a toll on the subject's mental health. Due to my lack of a brain, lungs, and a tongue, I am somewhat lacking as a conversationalist. He spent the first few days loudly vocalizing his complaints and banging his hands up against the walls of the containment chamber, begging to be freed from the room. I felt that this was somewhat unreasonable on his part. There are far worse anomalies in Foundation containment that he could have been locked up with. Compared to, say, SCP-106, I am incredibly reasonable. Not to mention the fact I make far better toast than he does.
Oh god,
After
the grandpa!
the initial period of distress, the D-Class became resigned to his situation and fell into a morose silence. He would occasionally mutter to himself in what appeared to be a state of fear and self-pity. It took almost 45 days for him to fully manifest the secondary effect of my anomalous state. 2 weeks sooner than it typically takes for subjects to begin believing that they, like me, are toasters. SCP Foundation scientists believed that the effects were hastened by the isolation, which lowered the D-Class's mental defenses against my secondary effects. When the effects finally took hold, the subject wrapped one of his arms around me and pulled me into his embrace. He began whispering to me, saying that we were brothers. It was clear by this point that his mind was in a state of disrepair.
Just
it
don't
is also
do anything bad to the
that he did
toaster,
not
please. We don't need another
referring to me in the first
Do
person
not.
at any point during
Do
this
not
process.
toaster!
1 hour after finally cracking and giving in to my secondary effect, he was removed from my containment chamber and summarily terminated. Senior researchers believed it was unlikely his mental state would recover after the experiment. Next came Experiment 426-3. The SCP Foundation seemed eager to discover the parameters of my anomalous effects, and wanted to know if the effects are only operable when my body, for lack of a better word, is
I can't get over
a single
that, the
screw
first
was
person.
removed from me and presented to a D-Class that had no knowledge of my identity and anomalous effects. The Foundation researchers were somewhat concerned when the D-Class referred to it as my screw. This was a rather positive development for me, as they realized that attempting to destroy me would be a fruitless endeavor. Even the parts left behind would likely have the same effects. In the final recorded experiment, the SCP Foundation wished to test the range of my anomalous effects. A D-Class subject was placed in a cell adjacent to mine, and was to be kept there until my secondary effects manifested. The D-Class remained in the cell for 90 days, but the effects never manifested. Following the experiment, the D-Class was terminated, but researchers seemed relieved to find the limits of my anomalous abilities. A researcher appended a note to my file reading, "Thank God there are some limits to my effects." A lot of us were really starting to get worried about me. After performing studies into the nature of my abilities and their limits, I was given the Euclid class. This is because while my effects can be unpredictable, their knowledge of my traits makes me relatively easy to keep contained. And of course, being a toaster, I do not have the required physical traits to make a run for it if the opportunity arises. I am to remain sealed in a windowless chamber, preventing anyone from observing me directly. A misleading label is placed on the door to prevent people from knowing that I am a toaster and causing my anomalous primary effect
Definitely
to
don't
spread.
have a toaster.
Only level 3 and above personnel are to know of my
toaster.
presence, and
Nope, no toaster.
particularly of my properties. Assigned personnel are to be rotated out on a monthly basis to prevent contamination by my secondary
Free my
effect.
man.
Psychiatric evaluation
the
is mandatory
toaster.
at the end of the
He
month
did
for
nothing
anyone who
wrong.
works with me. If personnel are deemed unaffected, they may be reassigned to me no less than 4 months after their last rotation with me. Any personnel affected by me are to be given a Class C amnestic and transferred to a different site. So how are you feeling right now?
No.
A little warm, perhaps?
No.
Is that a fever? Or are you feeling like you could maybe warm up a nice, freshly sliced piece of bread?
No.
Don't try to resist too much. I know you're going to love being a toaster. Just like me.
I don't wanna be a toaster. No.
Yeah, that one is like I said, that's one of my favorites, but that's what it's kind of creepy.
I hate that. I hate
Everything.
that.
I am toaster, you are toaster, me, she, he, toaster. Everything's a toaster.
That's so scary. I don't like it.
It is.
I don't like it.
Oh my god, that's a fun one. That is a fun one, though.
Do
And
not the toaster.
Yes, do not the toaster,
I can't believe
please.
he did that.
He As somebody had said, this is one of the few SCPs that actually changes how you write about it.
Yeah.
Because you write it in the first person.
Yeah, like, that's so crazy. What the heck?
That I will say, whoever wrote these did a really good job.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. The writers are so cool.
Yeah, I've actually been tempted to try to make one myself at some point in time, but one day.
Yes.
So for the next one, I have a question for you. I think that we should take out all the easy stuff and go with something a little bit more hardcore, like SCPs that would end the world as we know it. Yeah. So my question to you is, honey, do you like cake?
Without the frosting, yes.
Without the frosting. That's actually, you know what? That's actually totally fair. Frosting can be a little bit much.
It's so sweet.
Okay, this is actually going to be a short one, but it will get its point across.
Oh god.
Very, very well. Hold on, so go ahead and it's on the playlist as well. Look up the self-replicating cake.
It's right there.
Yes.
Oh, cake.
Cake time. Cake time. It's good.
Item number SCP-871. Object class Keter.
Oh, it's a Keter.
Special containment procedures. Each recurrence of SCP-871 is to be maintained within a separate locked concrete cell on a metal platter permanently affixed to the surface of an immovable wooden table. Each cell housing a recurrence of SCP-871 is to be monitored on a 24-hour basis via closed-circuit camera, with individual feeds checked every 15 minutes. Upon creation of an instance of SCP-871, 3 Class D personnel are to be escorted by armed guards to its cell, where they are to be sealed with the instance and induced to consume it. No more than 1 hour may be spent performing this task. In cases where additional motivation is needed, the termination of one of the Class D personnel assigned to an instance of SCP-871 is authorized. Upon completion of the consumption of an instance, no participants may exit the cell until both they and the room have been thoroughly searched to confirm that no portions remain. The platter, table, and room are then to be cleaned in preparation for the next instance. Class D personnel who prove cooperative in the consumption of an instance of SCP-871 may volunteer to participate in additional consumptions. Personnel exhibiting exceptional usefulness may have their monthly termination postponed. Such personnel are under no circumstances to be allowed to interact with any other SCP object. No desserts of any kind are to be served on site at any facility housing a recurrence of SCP-871. Description: SCP-871 is a collection of 237 cakes. Instances of SCP-871 vary widely in appearance and size, covering the entire range of foods described by humans as cake. The smallest observed instance of SCP-871 was a miniature cupcake with a mass of 15 grams. The largest yet observed was a 22-kilogram creature, measuring 2 meters in length. When any instance of SCP-871 is consumed by a human or a collection of humans, it is replaced approximately 24 hours afterward with a similar cake. This cake will appear on a flat surface in the vicinity of the location where the previous instance was eaten. If any of these cakes is substantially damaged through any means other than being eaten by a human, including being eaten by a non-human animal, it will be replaced instantaneously. Instances recreated in this manner maintain the schedule of the original instance. The mechanisms by which instances of SCP-871 are replaced is currently unknown. Individual recurrences of SCP-871 have been observed to mutate over time, varying in minor characteristics between each instance, with larger changes occurring in roughly 5% of replacements. No deleterious effects have been observed to result from the consumption of SCP-871, even in cases where several instances have been consumed, excepting those expectable from eating large amounts of cake. SCP-871's danger originates in the consequences of an instance not being eaten. Any instance of SCP-871 which is not consumed will cause a new cake to be created in its vicinity after 24 hours. While this is similar to its normal replacement behavior, the original instance will continue to exhibit the same properties, replicating if damaged, and continuing to replace itself every 24 hours. This behavior has been observed in all cases where more than 10% of the mass of an instance remained unconsumed. As there is no known mechanism for halting SCP-871's replication, any uncontained instances could replicate exponentially, quickly becoming unmanageable. No maintainable plans for the containment of more than 20,000 instances of SCP-871 have yet been devised. It is estimated that an uncontrolled outbreak originating with a single instance would render the Earth uninhabitable within 80 days.
That's a lot of cake.
That's a lot of cake.
That's a lot of
If you
cake.
missed the previous orientation,
Please eat the cake. Oh my god.
Everybody has to eat the cake or else we will all die.
Yeah, like, literally, like, oh my god.
It gets stale or moldy, so I could see that was why it's multiple.
That would make sense because it would be damaged and have to replicate. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it could end the world. It could end the world just because of cake.
That's really terrifying.
Right? I think I calculated the other day when I saw this one just to see how much cake it would. I think it was like 15 million after like 15 days.
Oh,
of cake. 15 cakes, or after just one cake.
Oh my god.
Marie Antoinette was actually trying to save us.
Yeah.
Let it be cake. Oh my god, that was a fun one, but oh my god, it's just cake.
It's literally just cake. What the heck? I love it.
So, okay. So, I got two more here that are kind of like the end of the world ones, and then we can go back to some silly ones. What would you like? Would you like an adorable teddy bear or just a notebook?
Teddy bear and then notebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god, the bear. Okay. I don't like where this is going.
The Bugsy. Did you see the one? Did you see the one?
No. I just see because Mogo said it, and I'm like, oh, I'm scared now. Is it in the playlist?
It is in the playlist.
Okay.
I think that was one of the ones that was recommended.
What is called? Just teddy bear?
It's Bugsy.
Bugsy? Did I skip past it?
Yes, I think it's between. Let me see. I have to pull up my own list. It's underneath. I am a toaster.
Wait, where's?
There it is. There it is. I found it. I can send you the link too. That works.
Yes, please, because my I Spy is not working.
No, it's okay. It's okay. There he is. There is the bear.
The bear.
Just a bear. It's just a bear. Just a teddy bear.
Bugsy.
It's a Bugsy.
Yeah, just a little guy.
Just a little guy.
Oh. Bear.
This is probably one of my new favorite ones.
No. I'm terrified. The bears.
This one, the bears. This one's actually kind of scary.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be looking at today is SCP-1055. Object class, Catter.
Danger.
Special containment procedures.
Danger.
SCP-1055 is an info hazard. Information in this document is presented strictly on a need-to-know basis for containment personnel. Accessing additional information requires Level 5 approval and accepts the risk of creating a containment breach. SCP-1055's living quarters are accessible via subterranean monorail from Site-77. 2 personnel responsible for providing care to SCP-1055 are to be rotated in every 8 hours for 24-hour observation. SCP-1055's living quarters contain a playroom with television, futon and sound system, a washroom, a library stocked with children's books, and a kitchen.
Wow.
Staff are encouraged to provide any meal which SCP-1055 asks for within appropriate nutritional guidelines. If current supplies do not meet requirements, substitutions of pasta or sugary cereals are commonly accepted. SCP-1055 will fixate upon a random object, currently a teddy bear referred to as Bugsy, and clutch it tightly at all times. Staff must allow and encourage this behavior, even during bathing and feeding. SCP-1055 may vocalize unhappiness or deliver warnings on behalf of this object. Any requests concerning this object must be met by all possible means available. Containment of SCP-1055 depends primarily on both its isolation and positive social attitude. In the event of catastrophe, staff are to evacuate and flood the living quarters with nitrous oxide. Under no circumstances is any physical harm to be done to SCP-1055, even and especially if it becomes hostile. Additional information. Delete or destroy after reading as per HP 5.810 regarding forbidden knowledge disposal.
Totally, yeah.
Containment of SCP-1055 depends primarily upon the health and well-being of its caretaker, D-1055. Due to SCP-1055's extreme reactions to human perception, successful containment requires that staff on site be misdirected to believe that D-1055 is the anomalous entity himself. D-1055 is of diminished mental faculty, but aware of the importance of his service in keeping Bugsy safe in his arms. D-1055 has thus far presented the only viable means of containing SCP-1055 without massive loss of personnel and resources.
Level 4 personnel who oversee containment of SCP-1055 are not allowed within 50 kilometers of Site-77, nor may they directly interact with any personnel tasked with its maintenance. Description: SCP-1055 is formerly Michael Schroeder of Douglas, Wyoming. He is a Caucasian male, 6 foot 4 inches tall and 280 pounds, 29 years of age, and suffers from autistic spectrum disorder and Down syndrome. SCP-1055 may be addressed as 1055, Mikey, or any nickname which he suggests. Despite classification as an anomaly, staff are encouraged to address SCP-1055 with normal social pronouns in documentation and conversation. Additional information. Delete or destroy after reading as per HP 5.810 regarding forbidden knowledge disposal.
Under normal conditions, SCP-1055 superficially resembles a specimen of Ursus arctos horribilis. However, its volume, mass, and morphology shift spontaneously. The means by which SCP-1055 gains and loses mass is not understood, but it appears to be in relation to the number and proximity of individuals who are aware of SCP-1055 and the nature of the attention it receives from them. Hostile or fearful awareness of SCP-1055 increases its size and hostility significantly more than benign awareness. But due to SCP-1055's violent nature, even a calm awareness of its existence can quickly spiral into a potential containment breach as the danger it presents escalates and exposes itself to more individuals.
It's
In the event of a catastrophic exposure to human awareness, SCP-1055 will quickly be overwhelmed by its own size and will no longer be able to effectively move at will. However, it will continue to grow and produce sensory organs and appendages which are used to assault any living creature within reach. Even in confined or subterranean locations, SCP-1055's growth can exert enough pressure to cause tremors and massive structural failure, and pieces of the biomass are capable of growing through and widening gaps or cracks of any size. Apart from its mass generation, SCP-1055 possesses no special ability to resist trauma. Portions of SCP-1055's biomass that are removed via trauma do not regenerate or continue living independently. However, about 75% of any hostile action taken against SCP-1055 to date has failed to destroy more of the organism than the very act itself generated, even in circumstances where the trauma was applied remotely via bombing or automated defenses.
Whoa.
No upper limit to the size or lethality of SCP-1055's biomass has been established during containment breaches and exposure to civilians and unscreened personnel. The only event which has ever been shown to effectively reduce SCP-1055 in size is the death of at least 80% of the individuals aware of its existence. Amnestics of any class are not sufficient to eliminate awareness.
No!
Yeah.
I have to die!
SCP-1055 is hypothesized to require the extermination of all previously exposed individuals, including the O5 Council itself and anyone who is reading this document.
Oopsies.
It is the O5 Council's unanimous opinion that a failure to properly restrain SCP-1055 could quickly spiral into an XK-class scenario if its existence became publicly known.
Addendum. Containment procedures adapted from captured Group of Interest intelligence. The Group of Interest was unsuccessfully researching attempts to destroy SCP-2055, which led to its escape and subsequent access additional information. Delete or destroy after reading as per HP 5810 regarding forbidden knowledge disposal.
Current procedure was adopted following SCP-1055's 12th containment breach, which resulted in sustained precision bombing upon former Site-76 and the loss of all personnel within. With the exception of D-1055, previously classified D-492291, see Form 1055-46 regarding termination exemption. Double-blind recovery teams found D-1055 alone in the rubble, clinging to the shredded remains of SCP-1055 as a security blanket. It is hypothesized that D-1055 lacks the full capability to understand Bugsy's true nature, and that as his awareness of SCP-1055 is obsessively protective and affectionate, he is not capable of triggering the escalating growth and hostility that normal human interaction with SCP-1055 produces. According to interviews with containment personnel, it appears that SCP-1055 itself either currently lacks the body and muscle mass to resist D-1055, or it simply lacks the will to resist. The majority of personnel have been successfully convinced that SCP-1055 is a poorly sewn, if disturbingly realistic, stuffed animal. Any movement or other indications to the contrary have been attributed to D-1055's supposed anomalous nature.
I don't care that this arrangement has worked out the best out of all the previously scrapped containment schemes. It is not sustainable in the long run to ask a mentally challenged man to keep the end of the world at bay with hugs. We need a long-term solution, preferably orbital or oceanic, to keep exposure to human awareness at an absolute minimum. 0510. Tell Mikey that we're taking Bugsy away, and we're facing a brand new containment breach. I recommend doing so in person. That would be at least one less person who knows about this thing. 055. Via Protocol 12, we are already recruiting in plenty of mentally challenged individuals for Keter work. We're grooming future candidates to inherit D-1055's duties and to act as a backup if the worst happens. Argue all you want for putting it in the sky where anyone can see it. This is the cheaper and safer option by far. 057.
Just keep hugging it.
This concludes today's lecture. Thank you for listening.
If literally do not perceive.
Like seriously, like just like let him be with his caretaker and friend and just do his little thing, you know.
Yeah, just let him vibe.
Just vibe.
Just let him vibe, and then Bugsy will be okay.
Yeah, little guy.
This was one of the ones that was recommended to me, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, this is crazy. What the heck? It just keeps growing.
Yeah, so yeah, uppies. It just needs uppies and it'll be okay. One thing that they did recognize is an XK class scenario. So anything that you hear is like XK or like or ZK or any one of those.
Yeah.
Those are basically like the worst, absolute bad things happen. So either like okay, sometimes like either everything is restructured, like society is just changed as a whole, or maybe like the what is it called? Like a broken veil scenario, which is okay, the world knows about anomalies now.
Yeah.
Type of situation. But XK that's end of the world. If anything can cause the end of the world, it is an XK class end of the world scenario.
Oopsie.
Yeah, and apparently a teddy bear can do that along with the cakes.
Oh my god. Oh god. Two seemingly innocent, pure things. So destructive.
Yes. So I have a question. How are you on time? Can you keep going?
I can go probably until 4:30. Then I need to prep for dinner.
I have to do the same thing as well. I need the food, and I don't have any food here, so that probably help. Okay. So then. Oh, there's so many good ones here that people have suggested.
We can always do a part 2 as well.
We could do a part 2. That would be good.
I like learning.
Yes, it's good. Let's do. Would you like to learn about the infinite Ikea? Okay. I'm sending this one to you right now. Here we go. And I hope you guys are learning some stuff as far as the SCP. As you can kind of tell, the what you call it, the format of all these SCPs are pretty similar with each other. It's just a matter of what it is and what the concept is. And like I said before, it can literally be anything. It could be a place, a person, a concept, like the meatball factory.
What? No, not the meatballs. No.
Yes, that's IKEA. Yeah, if you said you've never been to an IKEA before, but yeah, it's literally just a giant furniture store.
Yeah.
Like think of a Costco and just make it just all furniture, and that's an IKEA.
Oh my god.
But they
so
do have
scary.
Swedish meatballs. They do have meatballs. They do have Swedish meatballs.
Yeah, I've heard good things about those. I want to try them.
I haven't been in like almost like a couple decades. It's been a while.
Yeah. One day.
All right, let's go with the infinite IKEA. This is a bit of another fan favorite one.
I shall probably never visit an IKEA after this.
Probably not. Big Rent-A-Center. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
Yeah.
On March 15th, 2011, Martin Sims was wandering down the streets of Carson, California. His clothes were ragged, he was filthy, and gibbering like a madman with a full beard and long, unkempt hair. His body was covered in scars, but he showed no signs of malnutrition. What made Martin's sudden appearance so remarkable? He'd been missing for 3 years. When he was interviewed by police, they asked him where he'd been all this time. They couldn't believe his answer. He'd been trapped in an IKEA since 2008. But this was no ordinary IKEA. This was a dangerous anomaly that would come to be known as SCP-3008. Martin's strange answers in his interview were laughed off by his interviewing officers, who assumed he was either crazy or under the influence of something. But they caught the attention of an SCP Foundation field agent embedded in the precinct. The report was passed up the chain to a local site director, who approved a detachment of Foundation field operatives to look into Martin's case. While he was reluctant to lead the Foundation agents back to the offending IKEA, the Foundation can be extremely persuasive. His screams of, "Please, I'm begging you, don't take me back, don't make me go back," were noted but ultimately disregarded. When the SCP Foundation had triangulated the position of SCP-3008, which was indeed an active IKEA, the entire retail zone was closed and barricaded under the pretense of a severe black mold infestation. Armed Foundation personnel also arrived on the site shortly after, based on Martin's vague statements that there were creatures of some kind inside. Due to his deteriorating mental health, Martin was unable to provide a great deal of lucid information on the specific traits of SCP-3008. But one phrase he kept repeating was "bigger on the inside." Once researchers were satisfied that Martin had
TARDIS?
delivered all the pertinent
Right?
information he was able to, he was administered Foundation amnestics to erase his memory of the last 3 years and return to his family. A cover story was formulated. Martin had been kidnapped and abused for 3 years by a mentally unbalanced stalker in downtown Carson. He'd been able to escape as said stalker took his own life out of guilt, a suicide that the Foundation expertly fabricated to make their cover story airtight. With the loose end of Martin Sims taken care of, the true observation of SCP-3008 could begin. A base set around the perimeter of the mysterious Ikea kept a 24-hour watch on the building, covering all potential entrances and exits. No exploratory missions had yet been approved by the Foundation Ethics Committee, so they first wanted to perform a week of external observation to see if any of the store's anomalous properties extended beyond the confines of the building. After a week of nothing, it appeared they
Store
did
just
not.
gets
The
up
local
and just,
site
like,
director
walks
approved
on
of the use
people.
of 20 disposable Class D personnel to explore the interior of SCP-3008. The D-Class operatives would be split into 4 squads of 5 men, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta Squad. Each would be assigned a different quadrant of the store and would deliver information back to the control team on site via a live audio and video link. 3 of the 4 teams upon entering the store reported nothing out of the ordinary. Neither the audio or video they were sending back indicated anything different from a standard IKEA store, from the flat-pack wardrobes to the Swedish meatballs. Team Delta, however, suddenly began experiencing a scrambled audio and video connection. Shortly after, communication with Team Delta dropped off entirely. They disappeared somewhere inside the store and haven't been seen since, with one notable exception. After the disappearance and the extraction of teams, Foundation researchers classified SCP-3008 as Euclid because its anomalous properties were at least confined to the interior of the store. And even then, seemingly not the entire interior. The anomalous area within SCP-3008 became known as SCP-3008-1, and containment appeared to be 100% secure. There was no telling how many people had already gone missing in the store over the years, but the disappearances must be stopped. The Foundation maintained constant surveillance around the perimeter of SCP-3008, but it appeared they could prevent any further incidents by simply preventing other civilians from accessing the IKEA store. Martin's ravings about monsters were assumed to just be the product of delirium, until a surviving member of Delta Team suddenly reappeared. The date was November 3rd, 2011. It was a cold night, a few hours after what would have been closing time if the store were still active, and 7 months after the extraction teams had disappeared somewhere in the confines of SCP-3008. There had been no anomalous activity outside the store since the perimeter was first secured, and the Foundation researchers hadn't expected that to change until the last surviving member of Delta Team came barging out of the store's entrance. Startled field operatives were amazed to see him again, but they were even more amazed to see what was following him out of the store, repeating the same phrase. "The store is now closed, please exit the building." Despite the fact that the entity chasing the Delta Team survivor was wearing the yellow shirt and blue pants of an IKEA store employee, the being definitely was not human. It was around 7 feet tall with no visible face. The entity had grossly extended limbs, with each arm being around 5 or 6 feet long and ending in a huge oversized hand. The whole process was so sudden that the field agents present at the perimeter weren't able to save the Delta Team survivor, as the entity reached forward with his freakishly long arms, grabbed him, and twisted his head off like a child with a doll. The field operatives present drew their weapons and peppered the entity with bullets. It would later be classified as SCP-3008-2, the being appeared to collapse and die from physical trauma, at which point it and the body of the former Delta Team survivor were taken for an autopsy by Foundation researchers. There were no biological abnormalities of the body of the Delta Team survivor, so it did not appear that the anomalous properties of SCP-3008-1 had any effect on the physiology of its occupants. He was not malnourished despite being missing for months, and the contents of his stomach looked to be half-digested food consistent with the menu of a typical IKEA store restaurant. SCP-3008-2, on the other hand, raised a number of perplexing biological questions. The autopsy revealed that the creature's clothes were actually part of its body, like an additional layer of skin. The creature lacked blood or any kind of vascular system. Even stranger
Please write our customer service or get off.
organs, not even a brain or nervous system.
Also, hi, Bettis, how are you?
Made entirely of skin all the way to its core. How it was able to move, or even live for that matter, remains a mystery. Though when you work for the SCP Foundation, you learn to accept that some things will always remain unexplained. One thing was certain, though. Martin Sims was right about his monsters. After the incident with Delta Team, the Foundation deemed that sending manned explorations into the heart of SCP-3008 was too much of a liability, and planned a series of drone-based reconnaissance missions into the anomaly. The first of these drones experienced connection issues and failed when attempting to venture into the Ikea's anomaly zone. However, after a lengthy period of trial and error, the Foundation was able to establish a more secure connection with its drones, even deep into the SCP-3008-1 anomalous zone. It was only then that some of the most extraordinary discoveries were made. SCP-3008-1 seemed to break the laws of spatial reality, as the area of the Ikea's interior was at least an order of magnitude larger than its exterior. Just as Martin Sims had said, it was bigger on the inside, but just how much bigger? The Foundation has yet to find evidence of any physical terminators within the store that might indicate SCP-3008-1 has an endpoint. While an area of at least 10 kilometers squared has been uncovered in SCP-3008-1, it could in theory be infinite. Laser rangefinder tests, which are normally very reliable, have only given inconclusive results. Interestingly, the anomalous area doesn't have any clear visual differences from the rest of the Ikea store, except that it extends forever. An individual trapped within the confines of SCP-3008-1 wouldn't even realize they've entered an anomalous zone until they tried to locate an exit and leave, at which point they'd find they were already hopelessly lost. The geography of SCP-3008-1 does at least appear to be consistent, so people trapped within are theoretically able to retrace their steps and escape if they haven't already ventured too deep. According to data collected during the drone reconnaissance missions, SCP-3008-2, of which there appear to be a vast population, would wander the stores aimlessly during the day. They are unresponsive to the drone's presence and did not appear to be aggressive. While the physical descriptions of these creatures could vary slightly, they all follow the same overall trend. Clothes consistent with an Ikea uniform, no face, either seemingly too tall or too short, and limbs that are grossly out of proportion with their bodies. As the Foundation began sending drones deeper into SCP-3008-1, they found another incredible discovery. There was an unknown population of humans trapped inside Ikea's anomalous zone. And these people had used the Ikea furniture around them to create entire settlements and towns within the store. There were several of these towns, all of which seemed to cohabitate peacefully. Even Foundation personnel found this development in their research to be truly extraordinary. Since SCP-3008 was first identified, there have been only 14 civilian escapes. Some had been trapped inside for months, others had been in there for years, some far longer than Martin's 3-year stint. While every one of these escapees has eventually been released back to their home, after a liberal application of amnestics and a proper cover story has been devised, the Foundation interviewed each of them extensively first. According to each of these escapees, the people trapped inside the Ikea have built an entirely new society across the various settlements. Contrary to the Lord of the Flies expectations of a group of people isolated and afraid, there's immense cooperation between the trapped civilians. The food in the several Ikea restaurants in SCP-3008-1 mysteriously replenishes while nobody's there, so there's no threat of starving. And the automatic turning on and off of the lights forms as a rudimentary kind of day and night cycle. Nighttime, however, is when things get dangerous, as the SCP-3008-2 entities, which are known to the people inside as the staff, become extremely hostile after dark. Aggressive hordes of the staff swarm the settlements at night, repeating, "This door is now closed, please exit the building." The civilians inside are usually able to repel these attacks with minimal casualties, but the constant war of attrition slowly wears down those inside. The bodies of the creatures also need to be removed from the area after each attack, as the presence of corpses or even parts of corpses has been known to heighten the ferocity of the next night's attack. During the day, the staff return to a docile and unresponsive state, though they'll still defend themselves violently if anyone dares to attack. Over the course of the interviews with the 14 escapees, Foundation researchers were able to answer another of their key questions. How had so many people gone missing in the store for so long without being noticed? But the answer they received only raised many more unsettling queries. According to the escapees, there were people inside the settlements that, despite being otherwise of entirely sound mind and standard intelligence, seemed to lack very common knowledge that even a child should know. For example, some of them weren't aware of the International Space Station orbiting the Earth, or stranger still, the existence of the Statue of Liberty. This led the researchers to a frightening conclusion. SCP-3008-1 may not only be a nexus point of multiple Ikea stores in our dimension, it could be connected to Ikeas in every dimension where Ikeas exist. While it only abducts a handful of people from each store over an extended period of time, it suddenly becomes clear how this SCP was able to trap so many people without detection over such a long period of time, which in turn led to an even more terrifying revelation. The SCP Foundation may not have SCP-3008-1 as contained as they thought. It might even be tucked away in an Ikea store somewhere near you, just waiting for you to visit. After all, there's always room for one more.
No!
Interdimensional Ikea!
That's insane! No, I hate that. I hate that. Oh my god.
Yup.
I thought it was just like just one little store, you know, it's all good. No, it's interdimensional. Wow. Oh my god.
Here's my thing. Can you imagine just like you're going into like, you know, like a Costco or like just a furniture store anywhere, and it just keeps on going and going and going and going.
No. No, thank you. No, thank you. No. That's terrifying.
Yeah, I know. That is a very infamous one.
Oh my god.
I think, and that's one of the ones that like has like multiple stories about it. About it as well. Like I know SCP Explained has like a lot of stories about like people who have been trapped in there and like what has happened. So that kind of extends to the other side of SCP stuff. Like I said, it's not just the entries themselves, but people have written stories about the entries or just characters or a whole bunch of things in regards to everything. It's really awesome.
That's awesome. Really awesome.
So we have maybe time for one more then?
That sounds good to me.
So speaking of people, I think this might be a good one to end off on. And this is not so much scary as interesting. So we'll talk about one of the most important people that you will ever hear as far as SCP is concerned. Which is an SCP himself, who is a researcher at the facility. Which is the infamous Dr. Bright. He's just a guy.
Just a guy?
He's just a guy.
He's fearless. He's eccentric. He's dedicated to the SCP Foundation's cause. In a lot of ways, he's even more like a living legend than a regular Foundation employee. His face, voice, gender, and even species may sometimes change, but it's impossible to miss that ornate medallion resting against his chest. That's right. Today, we're talking about the infamous Dr. Bright. Can you think of many other researchers who've been cross-tested with the dreaded SCP-682 and lived to tell the tale?
Well,
of course, there's a special advantage Dr. Bright possesses that most researchers don't. It's the medallion he's never seen without. And because of it, Dr. Bright can't die. How is that possible, you ask? Because in a sense, he is that medallion. Don't worry. After this crash course in all things Dr. Bright, including his origin, his present, and his future, you'll be a lot less confused. So, who is Dr. Jack Bright? For starters, he's a decorated researcher of anomalies for the SCP Foundation, and unlike most other researchers, he's uniquely qualified for the job on the grounds that he himself is an anomaly. Just don't bring this up when you're talking to him. It's kind of a sore subject. Beyond that, who or even what Dr. Bright is can be a bit of a loaded question, with an answer that depends on who and when you ask. What we're presenting to you here is one of the more popular versions of the Dr. Bright story, and the one most closely adhered to by Dr. Bright himself these days. One of our biggest challenges to understanding Dr. Bright is that he has been so prolific in his exploits and achievements within the Foundation that when telling his story, it's hard to know where to start. But as the saying goes, let's begin at the beginning. Starting with the Bright family. Bright was a name that carried a lot of weight around the Foundation even before Jack Bright signed up for service. His parents, Dr. Adam and Evelyn Bright, were both Foundation personnel. His siblings were incredibly numerous, and the ones we're aware of are TJ Bright, Michael Bright, Claire Pierce, and a nameless sister now known only as SCP-321. Sadly, you'll soon see that the story of the Bright family is one of consistent tragedy and strife.
No!
While the anomalization of Dr.
It's a
Bright
sad
took
one.
hold a little later on in his life, his brother TJ was born anomalous and was designated as SCP-590. TJ had the ability to heal any ailment with a touch, with the cost being that he took on those ailments himself. He's now used as a tool for healing at the Foundation, and he's consistently bedridden with the illnesses he takes on. Dr. Bright induced a mental state similar to that of a 3-year-old in TJ, likely in hopes of reducing the mental burden placed on his poor brother. And sadly, that burden goes far beyond healing the illnesses of strangers. When Adam and Evelyn experienced a tragic stillbirth, they desperately tried to get TJ to help. TJ did manage to save her, partially, but the result wasn't human. And both he and the daughter, which came to be known as SCP-321, were taken into Foundation custody. SCP-321 was a highly regenerative and stretched-out abomination that seemed to keep growing with age. But Adam still saw it as his daughter and spent the rest of his life trying to negotiate her freedom from the Foundation. When his request was denied as a researcher, he climbed the ranks to Personnel Director. When his request was denied there, he became a Site Director, and then a member of the O5 Council.
Oh my
all
god!
with the intention of getting his daughter back.
Determined.
Holy cow.
And the rest of the council had him assassinated for his trouble. There's no reward for sentimentality at the Foundation. The other 2 Bright siblings are believed to be polar opposites. Michael Bright is one of the Foundation's best field agents, known to some as Agent Cowboy. His dedication to the cause and incredible aptitude at his job has led some to speculate that he may even be on the O5 Council already. Claire Pierce, on the other hand, disagrees with the actions of the Foundation on a fundamental level, which is understandable given the horrific things they've done to the Bright family. She defected and became a member of the Serpent's Hand, a fringe group dedicated to blowing the lid on SCP Foundation secrets. This brings us to the man himself, Dr. Bright, the most well-known member of this sprawling family. Much like most of the rest of his family, he too entered the employment of the SCP Foundation. He was a junior researcher and a relatively unremarkable one, until his fateful run-in with a certain necklace labeled SCP-963. But what is SCP-963, and how exactly did Dr. Bright come into contact with it? It all started in a small apartment that was raided by the Foundation due to supposed occult activities. There they found a single body, cause of death apparently from suicide, clutching the medallion that would later be designated as SCP-963. The walls in the apartment were covered in ritualistic supernatural symbols, and a number of occult books were also found near the deceased man's body. The Foundation gathered that the man was attempting to perform some kind of magical ritual, but had apparently failed, leading to his own demise. The Foundation soon learned that the recovered medallion appeared to be utterly indestructible, and they placed it under the care of a junior researcher, one Dr. Jack Bright. Dr. Bright studied the medallion for years, with very little
Junior researcher,
until one fateful day when he was tasked with transporting the medallion to a different area of the containment facility. While Dr. Bright was carrying out his simple transport task, he made a simple decision that changed the entire course of his life forever. He held the medallion in his bare hand. He also happened to be walking past the containment chamber of SCP-076-2, aka Abel, just as a containment breach was about to occur. Abel is an immortal, hyper-violent warrior who can summon blades out of interdimensional portals. Dr. Bright, following in the tradition of the Bright family bad luck, happened to be right in the path of Abel's rampage. The ensuing battle between Abel and the assembled mobile task forces and guards resulted in the destruction of the entire wing of the facility, and Dr. Bright was cut down in the brawl by the warrior's supernatural blades. It seemed like the story of Dr. Bright was short and simple, cut down in his prime in the line of duty. But a few days later, as several members of D-Class personnel were cleaning up the mess caused by the containment breach, one unlucky D-Class known as D-1-113 happened upon the medallion that Dr. Bright had been holding when he died. He leaned over and picked it up, and instantly underwent a sudden and drastic change in personality. D-1-113 was now insisting that he was Dr. Bright, and since this D-Class had no reason to even know of the recently deceased researcher's existence, he was immediately brought in for an interview. After a brief evaluation, It seemed clear that somehow this D-Class really did have the exact mind of Jack Bright. But how? Well, after some experimentation, including from Dr. Bright himself, they found the answer. The medallion's purpose was to act as a kind of vessel for the consciousness of the person killed holding it. Its original creator had hoped to use it as a way to attain immortality, and took his own life in order to complete the ritual. This was a mistake, though. The correct way to complete the ritual was being killed by someone else while holding the medallion. Something that had happened to Dr. Bright by total accident.
Wow.
In a sense, he'd been given a second chance at life, but this came with some anomalous side effects. As it turns out, coming into direct contact with the necklace, now known as SCP-963-1, is a death sentence. It causes your mind to be totally wiped and replaced with that of Dr. Bright. If the necklace is then removed, you become a lifeless husk until the necklace is placed back onto you. If the medallion remains in contact with its host for a period of 30 days, Dr. Bright's consciousness becomes permanently bonded to the body without any contact from the medallion. If the medallion then comes into contact with someone else, even if a permanent version of Dr. Bright is already inhabiting another body, they too will be infused with his consciousness. That means that if Dr. Bright wanted to, he could have multiple versions of himself existing at once. Initially, the anomaly that Dr. Bright had become was treated with suspicion and fear by the Foundation. They were dealing with an intelligent and now immortal consciousness capable of replicating an unlimited number of times. In theory, he could even place his consciousness into dangerous SCPs and gain even more power. Dr. Bright was placed under strict rules, like not being able to interact with certain anomalies, and having his hosts killed and switched at 30-day intervals to prevent him from building replicas of himself. However, this caution proved to be misplaced. Dr. Bright was an extremely intelligent, loyal, and devoted researcher for the Foundation, and as a result, his restrictions were slowly lifted by the O5 Council. Much like his father before him, Dr. Bright rose through the ranks, becoming both a celebrated researcher and a director of various sites during different periods of time. While this may seem like a win-win scenario for all involved, this is a slightly more complex situation for Dr. Bright himself. In a routine psychological evaluation led by Dr. Simon Glass, Dr. Bright shared feelings of frustration about his current situation. He felt as though he was treated differently compared to the other researchers and given less trust due to a situation he didn't choose to be in. But for Dr. Bright, the psychological effects of having been fused to SCP-963-1 actually extends far beyond workplace frustrations and the boredom and sadness of unasked for immortality. In a conversation with Level 1 researcher Dr. Friedrich Hayden, Bright told him that, in a sense, he truly was the heart of the Foundation rather than just one small part in it. When asked to elaborate, he said that because of the gift and curse of immortality, he would go on to outlive all the other human operatives working for the SCP Foundation. He would remain with the organization for generations to come, perhaps centuries even, and in that sense would be the one constant from now until the Foundation meets its end. When all else is gone, only Dr. Bright will remain. Of course, this is just an overview, and we've only just scratched the surface of Dr. Bright's actions and activities across the SCP Foundation multiverse. But for now, all you need to know is that Dr. Bright is still out there, and he'll be carrying that doomed name long after everyone else with it has fallen. Whether that's a good or bad thing is up to you to decide. Now go check out SCP-082 Ferdinand McCann.
Like, that's terrifying though. He could like change everything if he wanted to, but
yes, he is a good guy though, so we don't have to worry about that. The only problem is he is very funny and he happens to be a bit of a gremlin. There is literally a list of things that Dr. Bright is not allowed to do. And it's pretty hilarious.
Oh no.
It's just a ton of stuff. It's so funny.
Oh my god. No shenanigans.
No shenanigans. But he's an immortal. He doesn't care. He just wants to do whatever he wants.
He wants a fun time, you know.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
But yes, that is Dr. Bright. Like I said, he's probably one of the most famous people, like researchers at the facility. There's others, but he's kind of up there. Consider
so
that he is an
cool.
SCP. Yeah. So you might see him pop up a couple of times, especially when you're dealing with the one that killed him, which is Abel.
Oh.
And yes, and yes, there he does have a brother named Kane.
Oh my god!
They are both SCP.
Oh my god, that didn't click in my head until you said it. Okay.
Yep, and maybe next time when we do this, we can look at their stories as well.
Yeah.
Things Honey isn't allowed to do.
Oh my god, please. I cannot be restricted. I must do.
You must do all the things?
Yes! Do all the things.
Yes.
Ugh. Oh my god, so, like, oh my god, I can't believe, like, a whole bunch of people just, like, are working together to just build this multiverse of things.
Yeah, they have been for almost 10 years. Like, over 10 years. I think this started in 2018, so, yeah, we're 16 years in. Horror and comedy. Oh my goodness. And like I said, we're just touching the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't even gotten into, like, the special groups of interest, like you heard, the Serpent's Hand.
Yeah.
There's the Global Occult Coalition. There's the Chaos Insurgency. There's Marshall Carter and Dark. There's so many.
It's a lot of people.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
But the world of SCPs is extensive.
Wow. I love it.
But I hope you guys have enjoyed this little go preview or deep dive of SCPs. Honey, did you enjoy yourself? Did you have fun?
Oh my god, it was so fun. Because like I said, I was going in completely blind into this, aside from like maybe an hour watching someone play the first SCP Containment Breach game.
Yeah.
But, yeah, thank you. But like, what is all this? Oh my god. Who thinks of this?
I don't know. But we have 8,000 of them to get through. SCP Saturdays could be a thing.
Ooh, they could. We'll have to talk about it.
Yeah. I have been reading them for a few years, so yeah, I enjoyed these cute animations. Yeah, I have been too. I actually learned about SCPs during the pandemic because I was just looking for things to just listen to.
Yeah.
And I got hooked instantly.
Oh my god. Yeah, because like I kept hearing about them, but I just like never took the dive, I guess. I'm just like, I just kept forgetting about it. But it's so nice to learn.
Same, agreed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, but this was great. And especially with getting into the ones that none of us even knew about, like the door. Like the teleporter door.
I know, yeah, that was so crazy.
I still can't get over that, but
loved it.
Yeah. If people like this, I'm totally fine with. And if you're okay with it, of course, honey, I'm totally fine with doing more of this. This was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize how like, I don't know, it's kind of like addictive to learn more about like this universe type thing. Like, I can't stop. It's so good. I'm already excited for the next time.
Right? It literally is just a thing. Like the minute you start with one, it just trickles and trickles and trickles and trickles.
Yeah. Once you start, you just can't stop.
Nope. Wait, does that mean that the addiction to SCPs is an SCP itself? We're infected.
We are. This is the pestilence.
Oh,
this is the pestilence.
Don't tell the doctor. Don't tell the doctor.
He's already coming.
No. I don't want to be a zombie. It's a magnetic hazard. No. I hate it.
I'm scared. I will not have nightmares tonight.
I've already gone through that process of having nightmares.
Oh my god, no!
The thing is, we haven't even gotten into the really dark ones.
Yeah.
Like the one that's over there, like Ferdinand the Cannibal. It's a big one.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But next time, because we gotta go have the foods.
Yeah, I gotta get ready for some dinner. I'm hungry.
and I have to go and talk. And I just got a call from my best friends who were telling me I need to go and give them a grocery list of stuff. I'm house sitting for them. I'm house sitting for them, so they want to get me food, which is very nice of them.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So while I'm there, so I appreciate it. They are good beans.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, this is crazy fun.
Yes.
So let us see. Let me switch over.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone in mind that you would like to raid?
Let me
if that's okay.
list. Oh, absolutely. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
There's 2 people that I'm friends with that I know, so it depends on what people want. So if people want like a cozy art stream, we can totally go ahead and raid my friend Chaya. Or if people like Gundams and like robots and fighting and all that type of stuff, we could go and bug my friend Shiro, who is streaming some Gundam from Gundam. I think it's game night for everybody, so she typically plays with her chat and just dukes it out and things.
Oh, that's so cool.
So if anybody wants to do Gundams or anything like that, we could totally do that. Oh no, I apologize. I take that back. No, they're playing. Oh God, I'm getting my schedule mixed up. Hold on. I think she's playing. What's that new Liberty game? I forget.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I just don't know what it's called.
I forget the name. Raid Honeydoo. Yes.
No. No.
But we're already here. What is the name of that game? I cannot remember it for the love of me. Helldivers! Yes, she's playing Helldivers. She's playing Helldivers. So
the diving.
Yes, if people want to watch Helldivers, we could go and raid Shiro. She is a good bee. Both Shiro and Chaya are both good peoples. They are good fans. They are good beans.
Let's see.
They are both, but they are both sus. Both of them are sus.
No, not the sus. Imposter.
Yes.
Let's see. Maybe some diving. Let's see some diving. Yeah.
Okay. I will give you her YouTube channel. I'm sorry, not YouTube. I will give you her. Oh God, I need to find the. Hold on, I need to. There we go. Oh no, I take it back. It looks like they're playing. Maybe they are playing Gundam. Oh, maybe the schedule changed. We'll
Still
see.
fun. Yeah, let's go find out.
Something's being played. All right, so I'm going to send you this link here. Perfect. We go and bug a Shiro. We could go bug a Shiro. She is good peoples.
Ooh, Gundam, yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, I haven't seen this. Wonder if this is a gacha.
It's a Gundam gacha game.
What's a Gundam gacha?
It's Gundam gacha, yeah. Yeah, she plays it on her channel all the time. And does like competitive fights and things. Well, just more like fun fights with everybody.
That's so cool though. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Hey, let's go give Shiro a heckin' raid. For those on YouTube, I don't know how raids work, so this is only on the Twitch end. But, yeah. Thank you so much, Kaon, for being amazing and being so knowledgeable of SCPs.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. I love SCP stuff. We got to do this again soon, hopefully.
Absolutely. Oh my god, it was so much fun.
Yes.
Oh, I tried to shout you out in YouTube chat. I don't know how to do that yet.
No!
They have your name in there.
It's close enough.
Yeah. But thank you all so much for watching. Oh my god, I'll have to do this again.
Yes, please. We shall discuss.
Schedule for next week will probably be out tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. I posted links to Discord. Feel free to check out.
Yes.
And oh god, getting ready to raid. Heckin' is starting. Is getting there. Oh my god, the raid.
It's doing.
3, 2, 1. I forgot the raid message. No.
Renew, hold on. It's not too late. Oh my goodness. This was fun. I gotta go and just message her. Because I don't think you've met Honey at all.